Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast number 100. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host. I'm, of course, your guy, Danny. Joined by my man, Steph. Steph, how you doing, bro?
I couldn't be any better. We did what we were supposed to do. We'll talk about it. We have our mentor, the creator of Sporting160 with us, Joao Castro. So it's going to be a great podcast. I'm totally excited.
I'm also going to, before passing it off to Joao, I'm also going to introduce my man, Christian. Christian, what's good, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Kind of feeling a little shitty after that Porto game today, but we have to remember, still 10 points, still feeling good. It's on us. Doesn't have to do with other people. It's on us. Trying to convince myself of that also. But yeah, I'm happy, and let's get it.
Last but not least, joined by my man, Sam. Sam, what's good, bro?
100 episodes is a huge milestone. So I'm grateful to be here, grateful everyone watching and everyone here, including Joao. And I won't take up any more of his time. So you can go ahead, Danny.
And of course, last but not least, the creator of Sporting160, the one that helped us merge in as Sporting160EN, produced so much good for our Sporting community on Twitter, whether in Portugal or abroad like us. We're joined by Joao Castro. Joao, how are you today, sir?
Hello, good evening, guys. Boa noite a todos. I appreciate the invitation. Sporting160EN is very important for Sportingistas around the world. Reaching this special number is special for you and for us. I hope you continue to carry the name of Sporting to all countries that speak the language of Shakespeare. So let's make a good show.
Agreed. Let's go straight into this Twitter questions. As always, let me just pull them up here on the screen really quickly. Starting off with, of course, Jesse Silva at JM_Silva22. Joao is rolling through, can't miss it. The actual question comes in from unknown_DG at DG unknown. He asks, what are the chances Amorim leaves this summer? Joao, I'm going to pass that one right off to you. What are your thoughts?
No way. It's impossible to Amorim leave Sporting. He has a clause of 20 million euros, so it's impossible. And Amorim loves Sporting. He said a few weeks ago that he's very happy here, and I don't know how can Amorim leave Sporting next summer, because Sporting could be in the Champions League, and for Amorim is a great opportunity to manage a team that will participate in the most important competition around the world for clubs, of course. So Amorim stay at Sporting. Don't fuck away. Stay in Sporting. He's already prepared the next season. Saw some players to Sporting already. So it's impossible. Amorim don't leave Sporting. Sporting don't let Amorim leave Sporting. So don't fuck away. Amorim will be at Sporting for the next 2-3 seasons.
I hope so. I agree. But like our friend Con Murphy said, Barcelona might be looking at a manager this time in the summer. So, but I agree. Let's hope he stays here for a very long time. Next question again from DG Unknown. He asks, what are some players you want to see in a Sporting jersey? Joao, I'm going to pass it again to you, just because you did mention Amorim has already started planning for next season. Any names in particular that you're excited about that maybe might come to Sporting, or that you want to see come to Sporting?
I don't know the names. I know some movements of Sporting to engage some players, to know the conditions, the potential of these players to come to Sporting. So there are no names, for instance, but what I think that all can say is with the success of Sporting this year, and Sporting already has a base team. Okay, so it's more easy to make a team for next season, because we need only 1, 2, 3 players, because we already had a team. Last year is very different. Amorim has to build a team for scratches, and now next summer I think 3 players in maximum will be the target for Sporting, not more. 3 players could be different if Sporting has to sell 1 player, Nuno Mendes, for instance, or Pedro Gonçalves. If this could happen in the next summer, okay, 4 players, but I think that will only be 3 players for next summer to that Sporting will buy in the next market.
I agree. I cut off a bit, but I just want to throw it out there, even though he is linked to Porto even more and more. Eustáquio, I have to see that guy in Sporting, especially being a Canadian. I'll throw it off to you 3 as well. If you guys want to throw in a quick name, Christian, anybody in particular you want to see at Sporting?
I mean, it's been kind of a recent conversation lately. Gald already have half his pass. I don't know if Ferenc get relegated. I don't know. Well, there's a chance he could be a free agent, right? If Ferenc doesn't pick up his option, so he could be relatively easy to bring back to the club. That's all I'm saying.
I would say Messi.
Yeah, and I would have him.
Yeah. Scottish Messi. It's the same thing.
How about you, Steph? How about you, Steph?
Yeah, I said Messi. Yeah.
Oh,
I
Messi?
said Ronaldo.
My bad.
Ronaldo.
Jokes aside, I would love to see. I know it's a long shot, but I would love to see CR7 Ronaldo come back at least for 1 season. I don't know if it's going to be next season or on the.
Not yet. It won't be next year yet. Maybe in 3 years if we're lucky.
That would be great. And now Ludi Medeiros, he's done with Sporting. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Another deal with Braga.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right,
you said Ryan Gald, yes? O Sporting tem, eu vou falar em português para ser mais fácil de explicar, depois vocês podem traduzir até para ser mais fácil, mas o Sporting tem 50% numa futura de venda de Gald e tem direito de preferência, ok? Portanto, vocês podem traduzir isso, e portanto o Sporting tem aqui ou seja, todo o negócio que irá acontecer sobre o Ryan Gald, e fala-se muito do Braga em querer o Ryan Gald, a verdade é que o Sporting vai ter que ter uma palavra a dizer, e portanto, tendo uma palavra a dizer, estou um bocadinho mais tranquilo, há que confiar no Ruben Amorim, e portanto, se Ruben Amorim quiser mesmo Ryan Gald, nós vamos ter essa possibilidade. Se Ruben Amorim não vir Ryan Gald como um plus, portanto, uma contratação que traga mais valias, vamos deixá-lo ir, recebendo só 50% da transferência. Portanto, é um dossiê que temos que ter calma, porque nós temos preferência sobre o jogador e temos 50% de uma futura venda.
Yeah, exactly. Like João was just saying, we have 50% of his pass, and we have what's the word I'm looking for? Preference or first choice, I guess, in terms of a possible transfer. So if he does go to Braga, as being mentioned, we would get 50% of it. But of course, we have we have the preference of it. So if Amorim does choose to get Gald, we probably will see him back in green and white. That's a good point, João. Last question from D. Sorry, go.
E quanto é que custa o Ryan Gald?
He's valued at like $2.5 million right now.
Sim, yes. But the numbers that are in the market, 4 million.
Yeah.
Thanks, Felipe. My Portuguese skills are unmatched. You should hear how I try to say, what was the word again? Escalões? I know. Last question comes from DG Unknown. What are some things Sporting should do this summer to get better? I mean, I think we mentioned it. Some players definitely coming in. It depends on who we sell. That's the biggest thing.
Of course. Yes.
Depends on who goes.
Guys, also if Paulino he's had a great season. He goes to the Euro, balls out at the Euro too. I don't know if we can keep him, to be honest, So he's one to consider. I hadn't really thought so. I mean, I guess it was always in the back of my mind. He's got the connects to the super agent and all that. So I'm glad we got him for a season, if that's all it is. I'm glad he finally got to live out his dream, play for Sporting first team. He's been fantastic. I don't want him to leave, but I think it's very possible.
It depends because the Paulino will play, we hope, champions. So it's important to see the offers that Paulino will have, because if you want to play in champions, he stays in Sporting. I think so. If you have a great opportunity to play in another club that plays in champions, okay, will be difficult to maintain Paulino. Another question that came here in chat was about the Tiago Gaio. Tiago Gaio will be a free agent in summer, so it will be an opportunity for many clubs to buy him and sign him, and could be a player in the squad, because we have João Pereira, but João Pereira will retire in the end of season and come at Sporting, could be a coach, 23 coach, B team, whatever, because Sporting will get another right back, and Tiago Gaio could be a possibility, but I think Sporting is looking for another type of player. Okay, more offensive. I don't know if Tiago Gaio can have the skills that we need in that position, like Porto.
Agreed. Yeah.
Good
and
shout by
no more
Garrett
from Twitter.
also.
Just this one.
I just want to say for Reggie Cannon also, I'd take Cannon.
Yeah.
Give me that. American still. We need another American. Cannon. Fuck yeah.
Agreed. He's balling out too at Boavista. I mean, one of their star. I know they've been so bad, but one of their star players there. I would not mind them at all. Last one, just from Richard Neves. Huge dub from the big boss man. Shout out to Robbie. Let's go straight into the Portimonense game. Let me just throw up the lineup real quick. Bear with me for a second. Of course, Sporting won 2-0, another home game. A big 2-0 win puts us 10 points clear of Porto, and now 15 points, saying that Benfica tied yesterday against Ryan Galt's Ferenc. Our starting 11 was as followed: Antonio Edan in net, Gonçalo Inácio, Coates, Fidal in the back line with Nuno Mendes and Pedro Porto as the wing-backs. Midfield of João Mário and João Palhinha with Nuno Santos, Tiago Tomás, and Pot up top. João, what were your thoughts on this 2-0 win?
Okay, let me speak in Portuguese. It's more easy for me to explain. Aqui na Constituição, o Portimonense jogou com uma linha defensiva de 5 e não de 4, conforme está na imagem, que isto é retirado de uma plataforma, provavelmente do SoftScore ou algo do género. Portanto, o Sporting, mais uma vez, é uma equipa muito consistente a nível defensiva, com muita segurança, conforme nós temos. Nós entramos bem a pressionar alto e com agressividade. E o Portimonense tentou-nos fechar as alas, ali tentou-nos tapar as alas, as subidas de Nuno Mendes e as subidas de Porro, com 5 defesas, não é? Depois povoou bem o meio campo, mas o Sporting conseguiu sempre criar espaços. Uma das coisas importantes que convém ressalvar é o seguinte: o Portimonense estava à espera de Paulino. Paulino lesionou-se antes do jogo, como vocês sabem, não é? E, portanto, o Sporting jogou, conforme tu puseste ali bem, jogou com Pedro Gonçalves e com o Nuno Santos e Tiago Tomás. E, portanto, são dois jogadores que atacam bem a profundidade, o Tiago Tomás e o Nuno Santos. O que é que aconteceu? O Portimonense, ao tentar tapar o Sporting, que estava à espera de Paulinho mais fixo no meio, teve sempre dois jogadores muito móveis, que foi o Tiago Tomás e o Nuno Santos, e tentaram defender a profundidade. Mas o Nuno Santos teve muitos espaços. Porquê? Porque quando o Sporting conseguia recuperar a bola muito rapidamente no meio campo, por causa da pressão, conforme eu disse, intensa que o Sporting fez à saída de bola do Portimonense, a verdade é que o Nuno Santos, como não estava com a marcação homem a homem, porque era um jogador que ia atacar a profundidade, teve vários passos e vários lances, e portanto vários lances saíram no Nuno Santos. E acho que o Sporting mais uma vez tem aquela solidez defensiva, que quando marca um gol e marca primeiro, é muito difícil o adversário voltar ao jogo. Ok? Eles tentaram fazer isso, adiar o golo, o Sporting marca, depois logo a seguir a pressão alta fez com que eles perdessem novamente a bola e Nuno Santos faz o 2-0. E o jogo ficou arrumado. Eu acho que o Sporting é muito sólido defensivamente, é muito difícil uma equipa que esteja a perder contra o Sporting conseguir dar a volta e acho que o Sporting fez um jogo, não sendo brilhante, fez um jogo muito competente, outra vez através da solidão, da solidez defensiva, da sua atitude e da sua eficácia. E portanto é muito difícil ganhar ao Sporting quando isso acontece, quando nós metemos intensidade, metemos pressão e quando marcamos primeiro, qualquer equipa que venha jogar contra o Sporting depois tem dificuldade em sair da sua própria armadilha, apesar do Portimonense ter tido um ou dois lances mais perigosos. A verdade é que o Sporting é uma equipa muito eficaz, com muita solidez defensiva e o jogo ficou ganho ali na primeira parte.
Concordo, exatamente. Just want to quickly, a quick little shot at Porto. Sporting currently have less goals scored than Porto have penalties, which is a brilliant stat line in my opinion. Sam, I haven't heard from you in a while, bro. My bad. What were your thoughts on Saturday's game?
I think it was one that we played quite well in the first half, but when it came to the second half, due to the weather conditions, and I'm not trying to use that Arsenal fan TV, but it was raining, so it was a bit of a difficult one at the end there. But I think the concentration levels dropped a bit as well in the last sort of 15 minutes. You know, I think the lead was comfortable enough that we weren't too worried about it. But in terms of overall game, I thought Joao Paulino and John Mario were fantastic. I know John Mario gets a bit of stick for like not being creative, but you don't always need a creative midfielder. You need someone to do like the simple passes, the backward passes, and I think he was just on form, and I think that's what he was brought in to do by Amorim. But as well, I'll give a shout out to Inacio replacing Neto. Is it for the second straight game? I thought he came in was for his age, and I say the same for Nuno Mendes as well, for their age, and even Thiago Tomas to an extent, to come in and perform and do. I see you smiling down there, Danny. I see you waiting for
me. My face is covered.
But no, for their age and to perform the way they did, you know, Thiago Tomas's end product is something that I have a go at him for. But in terms of being like an engine and running up and down the pitch and never giving up, he does that well, and I can't fault him for that. But I think again, it was just a great team performance until sort of the 60th, 70th minute. And I started to see the quality drop off. The defense started to get a bit sleepy. But and at the end as well, that Pedro Porro dive was fucking so bad. Like all he has to do is shoot, and like it might hit the target, it might hit the post, it might go for a corner. But I felt like a dive was a bit of a stupid thing to do, especially given the time frame and the score. But in terms of overall game, I thought we played well. But if we need to play better than that against Porto, if we want a result, and that is what worried me in that game. It didn't really look like we were interested for the full 90, and I think we're going to need to be next week.
Agreed. How about you, Steph?
I mean, I totally agree with what Joao Castro said and Sam as well. But I think we're forgetting about something very important, which was the weather condition. The pitch was very heavy. It didn't allow us to control the ball, to have a good flow of the game. You could see the ball getting stuck in the water. At one point, Ruben Amorim, he kind of shout out to the players, don't pass to the goalie, because they train in a very specific way, Sporting Portugal. So every day they train to control the ball, and all of a sudden we're asking them to play in a more direct form because of the weather condition. Even though the Stadio Alvalade, the pitch was holding pretty good, in the second half, when, like Sam said, we didn't play as well. Well, I'm going to blame it a little bit on the pitch, because it couldn't get rid of the water. It wouldn't drain properly anymore. So at that point in time, you have to play the English way, which is pontapé para frente, which we didn't. We still controlled the ball. But in a nutshell, we did enough to win the game in a very poor condition. I think this is like the 5th game we play in similar conditions. The Nacional, Marítimo, again contra Portimonense. So we've been having really bad luck. Like today, Porto played, and it was perfect condition. So we haven't been able to play in a really good perfect pitch for quite a few games now. So when we go play against the Dragão, I hope it rains, because I think we'll be more adjusted to play under those conditions than the Sportistas. So I think we will benefit from that. But jokes aside, no, this game, I never felt, and I've been feeling this way for a little while now, I never felt Sporting was going to lose the game. I felt very confident from the get-go, and scoring an early goal and going 2-0. It's very hard to score in Sporting when we up ahead. And that would be interesting if we go to Dragão and we score early, to see how Porto behaves, because it'll be tough to score on us, and I think in the counter-attack we could kill the game. So I think Ruben Amorim knows what he's doing. He'll prepare the team well. Our secret weapon, everybody knows who it is, Joao Castro. For some reason, when he plays against Porto, he always scores a couple goals. So I think Joao Castro will play in this game, and he'll be our secret weapon, and we'll win with 2 goals from Joao Castro for sure. But coming back to Portimonense, just to wrap it up, we played good enough to win. We don't have to play pretty all the time to win games. Podemos ganhar por meio gol. I don't care, as long as we win. But we're gonna have games like yesterday, like on Saturday, especially with the poor condition of the pitch. But kudos to Ruben Amorim for the substitutions, which when he saw they were needed, because some players were exhausted. Right on the money with that. He's been doing a phenomenal job mixing the youth and the experience of the veterans, and it's a good mix. And I hope he stays for many years, many years. Even though he's Lampião, he's my favorite Lampião. He's doing a great job at Sporting. And hey, that's all I got.
Christian, I'm quickly just I think it was you on the chat, on our group chat, that said every time Sporting plays, it seems like there's rain. Speak on that, dude. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I did notice that, and it is kind of getting annoying. Although I will say, I do think that we have managed it pretty well. Like the Nacional games in particular, like I remember it didn't matter. We still created like 20 chances. We should have won like 6-0. And that was probably the worst pitch out of all of them, to be honest.
Yes.
So yeah, we've managed it. We've managed that well. So kudos to them, because it does feel like every single game it rains now. But yeah, like everyone has said, it was not our greatest game, but it was solid enough. We took advantage of their errors, and we basically put the game to bed within a little 5-minute window there. I was actually personally, I was getting very frustrated at Nuno Santos up until the goal. But I think that with the goal and after the goal, he did play a lot better. And he was probably one of the better ones out there. Pot, I thought he was putting himself in dangerous positions, and he constantly seemed like one of our greatest threats going forward. I feel kind of bad for Thiago Tomas now, to be honest. Just because he's kind of really thrust into that center forward role. There's really no alternative now other than, a Jovan, or if you go and get someone who's not really on the team, like someone from the B team, Luis Felipe, something like that, Skoglund. So it is predictable now a little bit what our attack is going to look like. And I don't know. I guess it's up for debate what Thiago Tomas's best position actually even is, whether it's on the wing or as the center forward. So yeah, I mean, I know that not everyone loves him. I'm not included in those people. I don't love him, but I think he's been solid. He's still very young. I don't know how legit those Arsenal rumors are, but yeah, I mean, I feel confident enough with him leading the line. Like Steph said, Jovan, I thought that we haven't seen the super sub in a couple games, to be honest. So I was kind of getting nervous that he was hurt again, because he can't really play more than like 25 minutes without getting hurt. So that's the problem with Jovan, is he has to come off the bench. So he did come in this game for the first time in I think 2 games, and he was. I thought he was dangerous. He had one good chance in his 10 minutes, I guess, roughly 10, 15. I don't even remember when he came in. And he had that one he forced a good save out of the keeper. So yeah, I'm feeling good going into the derby. We haven't been, world beaters by any stretch in any of these most recent games, but it's not like we're shithousing these games either. Like we kind of were in December, and maybe into January a little. But since then, I mean, these are just solid win after solid win. Some with merit, comeback win in there. They're rolling. Yeah, bring on the Dragão.
Agreed. Let me just quickly go over 2 little cases and get your opinions on it. I'll throw up the image here quickly. This is the first play that I can think of on the 58th minute. I won't play the video just because I know how sportive they like to act. Quach wins the ball. The referee does call a foul on the Portimonense player. No yellow. To my knowledge, there was no yellow, no red. Do you think the referee or VAR should have interfered? João, what were your thoughts?
Yes, of course. VAR was created to see these events, these aggressions, and so the VAR has to call the referee to saw the image, because it's very important from the Portuguese player to reach the player, the coates, like that, with the foot, the chuteira. So I think that in England this weekend it was a similar image, and the referee has the red card to the player, give the red card to the player. In Portugal, I don't know. They are scared or afraid to show red cards, because this kind of play, the play could put Coates out for the rest of the season. Okay, so it's important to protect the players. The players are very important to the game, and the players, if they are injured, there will be no show. The best players injured, there will be no show. So I can understand what happened in the mind of the VAR and the referees to not give a red card in this kind of play.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think there's anything else really to talk about. Just the save from Adan. I know you guys, I won't even show it. I know you guys are very aware of that. And well, anything about that to you seemed like a penalty at the time? Honestly, watching it at first, I thought maybe. But then watching the replay, it seemed like he got the ball first. I think we'd all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
The only other real talking point on this game was what came beforehand, which was, of course, the Paulino injury. Today coming out that we're going to miss Paulino for 4 games. João, I know you're pressed for time, but it's still a little quick question on that. Of course, Paulino hasn't yet scored a goal. We have yet to see the best Paulino at Sporting yet. But how much of a loss do you think Paulino will be for the next 4 or so games?
It will be very important, because Paulino brings another kind of option from Ruben Amorim in the front. Paulino is like Firmino. Okay, he could play the pivot playmaker in the attacker, because Paulino can give the chance to another player to score. For instance, I think with Paulino, Pedro Gonçalves will score more goals. The other wing will score more goals. The midfields, like João Mário, will score more goals. And Paulino has the capacity to get behind, get the ball, pass the ball, and when the ball is crossed to the area, Paulino is there again, because he's very good in these moments. Without Paulino, I agree with Christian. Like he said, Tiago Tomás is a great player, works very hard for the team. This position is not easy to a player like Tiago Tomás to play, because Tiago Tomás gosta de praticar futebol mais de profundidade. Okay, in this role, it's difficult to fight with center backs, big, tall center backs, and Paulino is another type of body. So Tiago Tomás could give Sporting more profundity, but we'll need the player, a playmaker player, so the system, Amorim system, to work 100%. Agora vou falar em português para ser mais fácil as pessoas perceberem, que é o seguinte, ter um jogador como o Paulinho, e que parece muito como o Firmino, dá-nos dois tipos de futebol, que é a capacidade do Paulinho que tem em criar as oportunidades para os colegas, de fazer apoios frontais para a equipa subir o bloco, subir todo o Sporting, e depois ele tem a capacidade, além de dar a bola aos colegas e proporcionar, porque o Paulinho tem um último passo muito bom, cruzamentos, ele aparece na área, o que não acontecia com o Giovane. Vocês viram nos primeiros jogos campeonatos, o Giovane, quando jogava ali, ele vinha atrás, recuava, dava jogo, mas depois não tinha a capacidade de aparecer na área. E isto Paulinho tem. E Paulinho finaliza melhor que Sporar. Okay? Nós estamos aqui a comparar e Paulinho finaliza-se melhor que Sporar. Não tem tido muita sorte, realmente, Paulinho está-se a adaptar a um clube novo, a colegas novos, o sistema é igual, ele já conhece o Amorim, no sistema é igual, portanto ele adapta-se bem ao sistema, mas tem jogadores diferentes. Uma coisa é jogar com o Ricardo Horta, não é? E com o Fran Sérgio, outra coisa é jogar com o João Mário e jogar com o Pote. Tem que haver um período de adaptação. Depois temos que ver o lado pessoal, é mudar a vida dele de Braga para a capital, para Lisboa, não é? Trazer a família toda numa altura de confinamento, que é muito difícil, ou não conseguir trazer a família, em alguns casos, a família ter que ficar lá e estar longe. Portanto, temos que dar tempo ao tempo. Acho que esta lesão, eu por acaso estava a contar muito com o Paulinho para o Dragão. O Steph, eu estava a contar com o Paulinho para o Dragão, eu tinha um pressentimento que o Paulinho se ia estrear no Dragão a marcar, mas neste caso vai ter que ser outro jogador a marcar. Mas eu estava a contar mesmo com o Paulinho para o Dragão, porque eu acho que ia dar muita mais luta aos centrais esportistas que são fortes fisicamente, estamos a falar do Mbemba e do Pep, e isso ia desgastá-los muito. E depois, quando nós fizéssemos a substituição, e para aqueles últimos minutos, mais ou menos o que se passou na Taça da Liga, eu acho que entrar um Tiago Tomás com aquela velocidade, a atacar a profundidade, os jogadores do Porto já cansados, acho que era esse seria o plano de Ruben Amorim. Sendo assim, vamos ter que ir por outra maneira. Tiago Tomás vai ser o ponta-lança, Christian, não tenho dúvidas que vai ser o ponta-lança escolhido, até porque se tem adaptado muito bem, ele está a jogar muito melhor também como playmaker, está a evoluir nesse aspecto. Contra o Portimonense, é verdade, é que jogando ali, reparem, o Tiago Tomás, quantas oportunidades é que teve contra o Portimonense? Uma, não é? Foi aquele cruzamento na direita que ele atira-se de carrinho e não chega à bola, certo? É muito ingrato para um ponta-lança jogar no Sporting, porque realmente só tem para aí duas oportunidades por jogo, não é? Ao contrário de outros sistemas. Quem tem mais oportunidades? Nuno Santos, o Pote. Portanto, para um avançado que vive de golos, ou é um avançado que tem estas características inerentes e que sabe que tem que trabalhar muito para a equipa e vai ter uma ou duas oportunidades e vai ter que marcar, porque não vai ter mais, para jogadores que não estão habituados a jogar neste sistema, por exemplo, como o Tiago Tomás, que agora está a ser construído, ainda é mais difícil, porque ele jogando a ala, se calhar tem mais oportunidades do que jogando aqui a ponta-lança, portanto vai ter que trabalhar muito para a equipa. Nós temos também de ser compreensivos e perceber que ele trabalha bastante para a equipa, com diagonais, com pressão, com ataque à profundidade, e portanto temos que valorizar também, porque ele só tem 18 anos, não é? Não sei quem é que disse, acho que foi o Christian ou o Steph, Gonçalo Inácio, Nuno Mendes é júnior, Tiago Tomás é júnior, e nós estamos a jogar com estes júniores e estamos à frente do campeonato. Portanto, temos que valorizar isto. Mas para concluir, referir que estava mesmo à espera que Paulinho jogasse no Dragão, tinha uma forte fezada aqui a marcar. Não sendo assim, vamos ter que construir os golos de outra forma. A lesão, fala-se 2 a 4 semanas, não é? Vamos esperar que seja só 2. Provavelmente só regressará no final de março, pelo que eu sei, mas é esperar que recupere totalmente, porque eu acho que naquela fase final do campeonato o Paulinho vai ser importante.
Exatamente, concordo. E também é outra coisa jogar com não só a operação de jogar no Sporting com o preço de 13 milhões, mas como disseste, e disseste bem, é mudar a vida toda para o Sporting e para Lisboa. Anything else to add on this game, guys, or your thoughts on Paulinho before asking MVP of the match?
Oh, Paulinho, I'm going to be the optimistic one. It could come back for the game of Tondela, hopefully. So he would miss only o Futebol Clube Porto, o jogo de Futebol Clube Porto, and the game against Santa Clara. So if he goes the 4 games like Sam was saying, then he would miss Tondela and Guimarães as well. I kind of know our schedule by heart by now. So, yeah. So let's be optimistic and let's hope he comes back in the game at Tondela, because I think he got hurt on the o tendão da perna esquerda, na coxa. So that's a fucked up injury. It takes a while to heal. So that's why it's taking so long.
Agreed. Oh.
Yeah, I actually read today in Record that Ruben Amorim has actually had the same injury as a player, and he was talking about it, and he said that it's one of those injuries where you kind of have to wait for it to heal fully before playing again. So I don't know what to make of that. I guess maybe that there's a greater chance that he'll miss 4 than be back sooner, or it's more likely. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. It doesn't matter. Or I guess it does matter, but we can't control it for the most recent game, or the next game at least. But Thiago Tomas in that Taça da Liga game did kind of get swallowed up by Pep. And then honestly, when Sporting came in is when the game changed a little bit. Even though he didn't do anything, he just banged bodies with those guys better. So yeah, obviously Ruben knows that. He knows that he has to go with Tomas this time, and yeah, hopefully they there's a different outcome for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And another thing, I was actually
going to mention só dizer já agora.
Yeah. Fala. Sorry.
Sim, não, deixa-me só dizer uma coisa que me parece também importante. O Sporting chegou onde chegou sem Paulinho.
Sim.
Não temos que ter medo de jogar com o Tiago Tomás, Pedro Gonçalves, Nuno Santos, Giovanni. Nós chegamos onde chegamos, portanto chegamos ali a janeiro, a meio, não é? Quando foi a contratação, ao final de janeiro. Não, foi mesmo final de janeiro. Portanto, nós chegamos a final de janeiro sem Paulinho. Portanto, temos que ter confiança nos que lá estavam antes de Paulinho. Não é preciso estar a chorar por Paulinho. Eu acho importante aquilo que referiste agora, que é uma lesão complicada se não for recuperada devidamente. Qual é a nossa vantagem? Nós só jogamos para o campeonato. Portanto, não temos aquela pressão de recuperar Paulinho rapidamente, porque senão os outros jogadores podem ter ali também uma fadiga muscular exagerada, não é? Vamos imaginar que estava nas competições europeias e na Taça Portugal. Tínhamos aqui um jogo agora para a Taça Portugal, depois tínhamos jogo das competições europeias, e portanto o Tiago Tomás ia-se desgastando e os jogadores iam-se desgastando, era pior. Como só jogamos para o campeonato, temos essa vantagem, que Tiago Tomás tem toda a semana para recuperar, e depois temos a possibilidade também de deixar Paulinho recuperar a 100%. Acho que isso é importante salientar, porque mais do que tudo, o jogador tem que ser bem recuperado para, como eu disse, ponta final, vamos contar com golos Paulinho.
I actually was worried that was going to happen to Porto more this season, but since he has the full week to recover, he's been able to just go every game, and it really hasn't been a problem yet. Fingers crossed.
The one thing I would like to say about Tete, I don't know if you guys noticed, but he's been working out. He looks a little bit bigger.
That boy's jacked.
And that's good, because now it enables him to work a little bit harder against center backs like Pep and stronger and taller center backs. So that's good.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. MVP of the match, man of the
Atenção
match.
atenção,
Sorry, I'm lagging.
atenção que aquilo que vocês estavam a dizer é verdade. O Tiago Tomás ganhou já muito cabedal, muito músculo, não é? E posso-vos dizer que o Daniel Bragança também está a ganhar.
Yep.
Vocês repararam no Daniel Bragança, vai muito mais ao choque. Vocês lembram-se perfeitamente, eu vi vocês a comentarem isso no jogo de Barcelos. Tiago, o Daniel Bragança foi aos lances todos, foi uma pressão constante e nota-se que no choque está mais corpulento. Portanto, existe muito trabalho, e há que salientar esse trabalho que foi feito, também como foi feito com o Giovane, depois na altura, como também está a ser feito com outros jogadores, mas Tiago Tomás está a ganhar cabedal, está a ganhar músculo, e Daniel Bragança também, portanto isso é importante. Queria só referir isso, vocês estavam a falar realmente da altura e tudo, concordo em absoluto, mas salientar o trabalho físico que está a ser efetuado nestes dois meninos.
Yep. Quando ele leva a porrada cada jogo que passa, he has to, you know? He has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, man of the match, it was given to Paulino. Another lights out performance from Paulino. I think it would be criminal at this point if he's not called up to the national team for the Euros. I'm going to agree. I'm going to give it to Paulino. Sam, who's your man of the match?
Just to be a bit different, I'll go with João Mario. I think he was leveled
Good shout.
up, I think.
Good shout. How about you, Steph?
I'm going to go with Paulino with that amazing goal. I mean, that's amazing. Paulino all the way.
Paulino didn't score.
Paulino.
He didn't score. Did he?
No.
It was Fidel.
No, he won't.
Fidel. Oh,
Yeah, and Fidel. Never mind.
My bad. I didn't mean to. I was just confused. You're thinking of the last game. My bad.
Yeah, last game he scored.
It was beauty.
Yeah, never mind. It's Paulino still without the goal.
How about you, Christian?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the guy who was honestly low key, just kind of, I thought, just staying in the starting lineup because there wasn't anyone else. And now it seems like the other guy was actually the one that was starting in the lineup, and he's now lost his spot. So I'm gonna give it to Fidel. He 3 assists and 2 goals this season. Guys, like, that's more assists than Jeremy Mathieu had in his entire Sporting career. I'm just throwing that out there. Fidel's been important, and he bagged his first goal finally. So I'm gonna give it to him.
For sure. And his interview podcasting for Spartan's coming out tomorrow. Another one I'm looking forward to.
That'll be a good one. Yeah,
that'll be a good one. And honestly, his what's the word I'm looking for? Portugal is not bad. He's only been here for a few months, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Joao? Who's your man of the match?
The man of the match was Antero. Just kidding.
Aquele segundo gol que ele deu nos.
No, for me, it was Paulino. João Mario also did a great game. But Paulino, and for me, the key point of the season, guys, was the restatement of Paulino, the comeback of Paulino. Amorim managed and talk to convince the player to stay in the club. There will be possibility to play from start 11, to reach the national team in summer. So for me, the creation of this midfield, Paulino plus João Mario, was the key moment of the season.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Yep.
João, do you have 5 more minutes just for us to ask you some quick questions?
Okay, not a problem.
Sounds good. Sam, I'll start it off with you, dude.
Sam.
So my question was just, what made you think of creating Sporting160, or what was the vision of it, and how do you feel like you've progressed?
Agora vou ter que responder em português. Qual foi a visão e como é que isto cresceu? Como é que isto desenvolveu? Foi essa a questão?
Como
Foi, Sam?
Sim.
Ok. Aqui a ideia foi deixar de ver a TV, os comentadores da TV. A ideia passou muito por aí. Achei que falava-se muito de coisas à volta do futebol, mas pouco de bola. pouco de bola, como estamos a fazer aqui, não é? A ver os momentos do jogo, a falar quem foi o melhor jogador, quais foram os momentos da época, e portanto na televisão falavam somente de polémica, de arbitragens e pouco mais. Depois eu acho que todos crescemos um bocado. Eu também cresci nos comentários, também fui aprendendo com muitas coisas que via, fui lendo muito, fiz alguns cursos online de algumas coisas, até para analisar melhor o futebol, scouting, futebol analyst, fui vendo muitos jogos, fui evoluindo também, e acho que vocês, digo já, que também evoluíram desde o início. Okay? E um progresso para todos vocês. Nota-se, quem vir a primeira emissão do Sporting160EN e vir agora esta emissão e vir o vosso relaxamento a falar das coisas, o vosso à vontade perante a câmara, o vosso à vontade a falar de temas mais complexos que se calhar só falavam superficialmente, portanto, o progresso, o desenvolvimento pessoal de cada um é notório. E digo-vos mais aqui que ninguém está a ouvir-nos. Vou-me aproximar para fingir que ninguém nos está a ouvir. Eu fui ouvir o primeiro Sporting 160, ok? E até tive medo do que eu estava a dizer, da maneira como estava a falar. E, portanto, eu aconselho-vos, a vocês 4, a irem ver o vosso primeiro programa e vão dizer assim, eu disse aquilo com aquela cara ali com medo e com pouca vontade. É um crescimento brutal e por isso é que se calhar vocês vão aumentando as vossas audiências, nós vamos aumentando as nossas, vocês são muito importantes para a comunidade anglo-saxónica, porque é muito difícil ser sportinguista, se é difícil ser sportinguista no Porto, imagino, em Nova Iorque, no Canadá, Toronto, etc, etc. Um abraço aqui para o José Costa, que está na Austrália, e portanto, a vossa evolução é enorme. Eu juro, vocês façam esse exercício, coloquem aqui no próximo episódio, coloquem aqui um clipe para vocês verem, para se rirem aqui um bocadinho, todos em direto, até isto um bom engagement with fans. Put a clip of the first episode of Sporting160EN and compare with the last one. It's incredible the development of the person, os comentários, a evolução, e portanto o que nós fazemos, e cada vez que criamos mais conteúdo até para o Patreon, é muito à base também do crescimento pessoal de cada um, e que vamos aprendendo, e aconselho-vos a não parar, em primeiro lugar, porque fazem um trabalho fantástico, e depois também indo lendo livros de futebol, análises de futebol, vendo jogos, apontando nos papéis, como eu faço, e eu revejo sempre o jogo do Sporting, ok? Portanto, o jogo em direto, eu estou a sofrer como adepto, né? Como todos que somos maluquinhos, com a minha superstição, que só vejo agora com a suéte do Sporting 160, uma que eu tenho, e tem que ser aquela, não pode ser as outras, tem que ser aquela, portanto não posso lavá-la até ao final do campeonato, aqui eu tenho que estar ali preparado, e depois eu vejo à noite, no iScout, que eu tenho o programa no telemóvel, vejo no iScout o jogo com outros olhos, vejo as movimentações, como é que os adversários estão colocados, qual é o sistema de jogo, os blocos são baixos, são blocos médio-altos, são altos, a profundidade, a largura, e portanto é um trabalho que eu faço, mas que gosto e fui aprendendo assim, portanto vejo o jogo com aquela emoção como todos vemos, não é? Digo as asneiras, insulto toda a gente, e depois à noite vejo o jogo e tomo os meus apontamentos. Acho que isso é importante para nós evoluirmos.
Agreed. And you're right. I don't want to look back and see any of the first clip that I was on Sporting160. I'm going to be honest with you. My quick question to you, Joao, in a similar vein, what was it that made you want to not pick us up, but help us and let us carry on the 160 name, especially being from Portugal, not really, in tune with the immigrant community, if you will, from either here in North America or where Sam's at in the UK.
I saw in your show, your Sporting 66, and now the potential that we have to united to have the opportunity to spell and spoke in in another language, but with the same principle. It was sporting, love from sporting, and you are amazing. You love sporting more than many sportingistas that I know here in Portugal, and I see opportunity to to unite it to create a name that will be more easy to the people to understand the concept of Sporting 160 and Sporting and the passion from Sporting. Agora em português para ser mais fácil. O que eu vi em vocês é o potencial que estava lá, a possibilidade é muito mais fácil e chegamos a mais gente tendo o nome Sporting 160 conhecido em Portugal e no estrangeiro do que estamos os dois separados. Okay? Isto é como uma equipa. A defesa pode ser muito boa, mas se os atacantes não defenderem, não é? Nós vamos no todo nós vamos defender pior. É preciso os atacantes defenderem e as defesas defenderem. Toda a equipa a defender. E nós a defender os valores do Sporting e a passar a mensagem do Sporting para todos, unidos e com um único nome, é muito mais fácil do que nós estamos a dizer o Sporting 160 e depois o podcast daqueles rapazes que estão na América. Como é que se chama o podcast? O nome tem logo outro impacto. E como nós já tínhamos algum impacto, eu vi em vocês, havia amor puro. É mesmo um elogio de coração. Vi amor puro pelo Sporting. E depois, acho que foi que falei com o Steph e disse, vocês são fantásticos, fazem um trabalho extraordinário, sozinhos já aí, porque é que nós não podemos pôr um nome para ter ainda mais impacto? E reparem, isto, obviamente, o nome Sporting 160, nós não somos profissionais disto, certo? Nós não ganhamos nada com isto, mas o nome Sporting 160 ficou mais forte, vocês também ficaram mais conhecidos, têm sempre a possibilidade de nos pedirem aqui algum contacto ou outro que for preciso, como vocês tiveram aqui, por exemplo, o Bruno de Carvalho, porque isso, lá está, isto sendo um nome comum em Portugal e no vosso país e no estrangeiro com o Sporting 160, é muito mais fácil as pessoas fixarem. Portanto, se o Steph amanhã me pedir aqui um telefone de um convidado, é muito mais fácil. Nós temos esta união, ele basta ir ao WhatsApp, ele sabe como é que eu sou, qual é o número de telefone do convidado X? E eu mando e vocês têm convidados. Portanto, é muito mais fácil, acho, estarmos unidos e somos muito mais fortes em conjunto do que separados. Basicamente é isto e o vosso potencial, porque vocês falam muito bem sobre o Sporting, falam muito bem inglês, e o Sporting precisa ser falado em todo o mundo. O Sporting é um clube enorme, as pessoas não têm noção do que é o Sporting. E por isso só nós, aqui já é 00:20 e estamos aqui a conversar, estou aqui acordado a falar com vocês, o nosso amor ao Sporting, não há tretas, é o nosso amor ao Sporting, como está o José Costa do outro lado do mundo, na Austrália, agora a beber um caneco com a camisola do Sporting e aquilo que vai para a piscina. Isto é um amor inacreditável e vocês merecem todo o crédito e, portanto, acho que unidos somos mais fortes e onde vai um, vai todos.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Steph or Christian, if you guys want to make some questions.
I'll go. João, it's a simple question. Why Sporting when you are tripeiro?
A difficult question, but no, it's very easy, Steph. Eu vou contar a história em português, que acho que é muito mais fácil, depois vocês quiserem traduzir, mas rapidamente a história é a seguinte, é muito estranha e tem a ver com o próximo jogo de Sporting, que é na ida ao Dragão. Neste caso, a ida às Antas, the Old Stadium of Porto, it was called Antas. E, portanto, eu quando era pequenino não tinha clube, era muito jeito para jogar a bola. Então eu só queria jogar a bola e não queria saber, nem perdia tempo a ver jogos na televisão, eu queria ir para a rua, porque antigamente as crianças podiam jogar na rua, agora é que é perigoso, não é? It's danger to play outside, in street football, but in other times in Portugal, we get a ball and we play in the streets. E depois nós jogava e tinha dois amigos que eram portistas, ok? Que andavam na natação do Porto e o pai era super portista. Tinha camarote no Porto, ok? Camarote. E então ele foi falar com o meu pai e disse, olha, teu filho tem muito jeito para jogar futebol, eu gostava de levá-lo ao Porto, para ele ser portista. E o meu pai, falou com a minha mãe, disse, eles querem levar o miúdo às Antas para ver um jogo. E a minha mãe disse, pronto, como é para os camarotes, está um bocado mais protegido, não é? Nós conhecemos o senhor, pode ir, pronto, ele fica todo contente. E eu fui. Estava a chover, vocês ao bocado estavam a falar do Sporting jogar bem à chuva. Estava a chover torrencialmente, ok? E então eu fui para os camarotes. O estádio das Antas à pinha, não é? Nem se via escadas, todos guarda-chuvas abertos, porque era possível entrar guarda-chuvas, toda a gente a ver o jogo, e eu entrei lá para os camarotes, espetacular, não é? Primeira vez que eu vou a um estádio, um jogo grande, não sabia que era o Porto Sporting, mas pronto, não ligava muito. Naquele momento, no túnel das Antas, que era muito famoso por outras circunstâncias, de várias pressões que faziam sobre os árbitros no túnel, sobre os jogadores, quando o Sporting entra em campo, com aquelas camisolas... porque antigamente as duas equipas não entravam juntas, ok? Portanto, entrou o Porto, não é? A equipa da casa, e toda a gente a bater palmas e tal, e o vizinho, lá o senhor a dizer, olha, este é que é o Porto, vai ser portista, estás a ver, e tal. E depois entrou o Sporting com aquelas camisolas verdes às riscas, como vocês têm vestidas. E aquilo é amor à primeira vista, pá. E eu fiquei ali, tipo, uau, eu gosto é daquela camisola. E agora como é que eu vou dizer ao senhor? E depois o jogo começa, o Porto foi campeão, acho eu, tinha uma super equipa, mas o Sporting tinha o Vítor Damas na baliza, tinha o Rui Jordão e o Manuel Fernandes. E o Sporting, perante aquele ataque feroz do Porto, o jogo todo quase a defender, estava a chover muito, a segunda parte então, lembro perfeitamente, era impossível estar lá. O Vítor Damas defende quase tudo e o Sporting tem uma oportunidade flagrante pelo Jordão. E eu fiquei logo apaixonado, quer pelo Vítor Damas, pelo Jordão, então fiquei completamente apaixonado. O Jordão sozinho lá na frente era o perigo, sozinho. Imaginem o Sporting quase a defender com todos os jogadores e só o Jordão lá à frente, e era o cabo dos trabalhos para eles. E depois o senhor no fim perguntou-me, então viste aqui, o jogo ficou empatado, empatou 0-0 o Sporting, no Dragão, portanto sobrevivemos ali ao Estádio das Antas com aquela pressão toda, e eles queriam ser campeões e ganhar o jogo, e o senhor no final, João, é espetacular, viste o Porto, viste o Fernando Gomes, os jogadores todos, o Frasco, eu disse, eu vi, mas eu gostei mais do Sporting. E portanto o senhor nunca mais me levou, não é? Ao Estádio das Antas.
No camarote.
No camarote, e fui, e cheguei em casa e disse à minha família que gostava de ser que era do Sporting, a partir daquele momento era aquela equipa que eu gostava, daqueles jogadores, e comecei a acompanhar, não é? Comecei ali a acompanhar o Sporting, e tinha um tio meu que era sportinguista, que soube isso, o quê? O miúdo quer ser do Sporting? No Natal oferece uma camisola do Sporting, pronto, não houve volta a dar, não é? Até hoje não, até morrer, até à cova.
Exato. Christian?
Yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up with the final question here for Joao. I'll keep it related to the team. I guess just what is your vision as far as your prediction for the rest of the season? What do you think it means, and what do you think it'll look like?
Eu acho que temos que ser realistas, temos que ter os pés assentos na terra, e acho que faz todo sentido o discurso do Ruben Amorim. Até acho que este empate do Porto vai servir para o Ruben Amorim reforçar esse discurso, dizer, não estão a ver, para dentro, para os jogadores não está nada ganho, reparem o Atlético de Madrid, já perdeu pontos, mas nós só temos que jogar os nossos jogos, porque nós o Sporting é o único clube que está dependente de si próprio, mais nenhum clube está dependente de si próprio. O Sporting só depende de si próprio para ser campeão. Portanto, o que o Sporting tem que fazer é essa mentalidade. Faltam-nos 11 vitórias para sermos campeões, nesta altura. A partir de sábado, espero que faltem só 10. Ou seja, o que eu espero é que a equipa continue a jogar com a sua identidade, que não muda a sua identidade e que jogue com as suas ideias. E isso é que é para mim o fundamental desta época. O Sporting nunca mudou o seu sistema de jogo perante ninguém. Ao contrário dos adversários. O Porto já jogou com 5 defesas contra nós, o Benfica já jogou com 5 defesas, toda a gente joga com 5 defesas contra nós, portanto, eles é que mudam. Nós mantemos a mesma mentalidade, as mesmas ideias, mas nós só temos que manter mais uma coisa, que é a mesma atitude em todos os jogos. O Sporting o Amorim já referiu isto e bem, o Sporting só é uma equipa coesa, eficaz, sólida, quando tem intensidade. Se nós relaxamos um bocadinho, o Sporting torna-se uma equipa normal. É difícil criar oportunidades, é mais fácil os adversários criarem-nos oportunidades, não conseguimos entrar no último terço. Quando o Sporting tem uma equipa intensa, pressiona alta, é raçuda, disputa todos os lances, esconde as bolas, bom posicionamento, é muito difícil ganhar o Sporting. E, portanto, o que eu espero para o resto da época é mesmo isto, é manter fiel aos seus princípios, o Sporting, aconteça o que aconteceu no Dragão, manter os fiéis aos seus princípios, jogar com os seus ideais e manter a atitude em todos os jogos. Portanto, é isso que eu espero do Sporting. Ao manter a atitude de todos os jogos, deixa-me te dizer aqui uma coisa. O Sporting, todos falam que o Sporting tem que ir a Braga, vai ao Dragão e vai à Luz, que é muito difícil. Esses jogos vão ser tão difíceis para nós como para eles. Eu acho que é exatamente o contrário. O Sporting tem a possibilidade, nesses jogos, de matar o campeonato. É exatamente o contrário. O Sporting tinha ali a possibilidade de matar o campeonato. Eu, se fosse aos adversários, tinha medo desses jogos, jogar contra o Sporting. O Sporting é que tem a melhor defesa, não são eles. O Sporting é a equipa que perde menos pontos. E, portanto, se o Sporting calha de ganhar 2 desses jogos, não tenho dúvidas que é campeão. Agora, é preciso manter a mesma atitude, os mesmos ideais e ter a certeza que aconteça o que acontecer no próximo jogo, o Sporting continua, imaginem, 7 pontos. Se nós perdemos o próximo jogo, que não vai acontecer, deixa eu bater na madeira, o Sporting continua à frente de 7 pontos. Se eu viesse aqui ao Sporting 700 em setembro e dissesse, guys, no dia 23 de fevereiro de 2021, o Sporting vai ao Dragão com 10 pontos de avanço. Aliás, nem precisava de 10 pontos, dizia, o Sporting vai ao Dragão com os mesmos pontos na luta pelo título. Vocês assinavam de cruz. Não é? Vocês assinavam de cruz. Nós lutar pelo título, assino já de cruz. Agora, com 10 pontos. E sabes que Cristiano, eu acho piada que as pessoas só falam do calendário do Sporting. O Sporting tem que ir à Luz, e os outros não jogam. O Benfica vai jogar com o Braga. O Benfica vai receber o Porto. Ok? Portanto, são 2 jogos fundamentais. O Benfica está com atraso, tem que ganhar estes 2 jogos se não quiser perder a Champions. E depois, os adversários têm perdido muito mais pontos contra equipas menores, com respeito para todas elas, do que o Sporting. E, portanto, as pessoas só pensam no calendário difícil do Sporting, mas não pensam que os outros também têm que jogar. Têm calendário difícil, têm mais jogos, estão em mais competições. O Sporting não tem culpa nenhuma, aliás, tem culpa de ter perdido jogos e não estar nessas competições, porque no final da época, guys, não vamos ter, no final da época, imaginem o Sporting campeão e depois vamos ter lá um asterisco, uma estrela em cima a dizer o Sporting jogou menos jogos com os adversários. Isso não existe. Não há tabela que tenha isso. O Sporting vai jogar os mesmos jogos para o campeonato que os outros. É beneficiado por não estar nas competições europeias, mas isso é uma consequência de um mau resultado, um percalço que o Sporting teve depois do Covid, por exemplo. E, portanto, eu acho que as pessoas têm que ter os pés assentes à terra, não haver euforias, e principalmente o que eu estou a achar muito bom com a equipa é que a equipa não está a entrar em euforias. Jogos decisivos e tem jogado da mesma forma, com a mesma atitude, jogo a jogo, e antigamente o que acontecia, o nosso karma, como vocês sabem, nós antes de ir a um jogo, por exemplo, ao Dragão, perdíamos pontos. Era quase certo. Jogar com o Portimonense em casa, com São Paulinho, campo pesado, como o Steph disse, pressão para ganhar, porque fomos os primeiros a jogar. O que é que acontecia nos anos passados? O Sporting empatava com o Portimonense, pronto, e já íamos ao Dragão, ai meu Deus, empatamos com o Portimonense, íamos ao Dragão já borrados. Não temos que ir borrados. Temos que ir com a mesma personalidade, atitude, ideais, e jogar o que sabemos. E isso, quanto a mim, será o suficiente para o Sporting fazer um grande resultado no Dragão.
Exactly. And before you leave, João, thank you very much for having us, for being on with us that late. Just a quick prediction from you about the game at the Dragão next week. What's your score prediction? What do you think?
I think we'll win.
I like it.
1-0.
I like it.
1-0.
I already like it.
And the scorer for it will be Pot.
As always. João, we appreciate you being on for Sporting160 at podcast number 100. We know it's running late, and we stretched out a bit more time from you. We do appreciate it. Always feel free to jump on if you ever want to practice your English. We're your guys.
Okay.
And we'll still be on for another 20 minutes talking modalidades and just a few more things. But yeah, João.
Queres ficar até ao fim ou queres ir embora, João?
Não, posso ficar só para vos ouvir mais um bocadinho, não há problema nenhum.
Okay, yeah, you want to
perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, my bad. I was just worried about the time. In that same vein, I'll ask the rest of you guys as well. Your predictions on the Porto game as well. Then coming up, Christian, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I do think Porto is going to score.
Same.
But at the same time, a draw really is not horrible at all. We're chilling with a draw. I don't even care. 1-1. 1-1.
Nice. I'm actually, I'll interject. I'm actually going for the same thing. I think a 1-1 is written all over this. And look, we'll be 9 points from Porto.
10. It stays the same.
I'll still, yes, you're right. Sorry, it'll be
maybe Braga can get within
Braga
9
will be 9 points from us.
Yeah.
And then Benfica,
Yeah,
if they win, of course, Benfica will be 13 of us.
13.
Still good. I'll take a draw. Steph, how about you, dude?
I'm gonna say 3-1 Sporting. Yeah, I think we're gonna score.
I love it.
And Porto will try to press on us, and then we'll score the 2-0. They'll score the 2-1, and then in the counterattack, lethal one by Tete. Oh no, Zuvan Cabral will win 3-1. But I do have a question for João. If we win no Estado do Dragão sábado, do you think that's it? Porto is out of the title race?
It's more difficult to them because we have the advantage because we have a draw in Alvalade, and if we win Stadium of Dragon, it's very difficult to Porto to recover. And so Porto has to think about Braga and Benfica because if Sporting wins in Dragão, the second place will be very difficult to Porto because Braga is strong. So Porto have to think about the second place if we win in Dragão, of course. And Sporting will be another week that will pass, another game, and Sporting will need only 9 wins to the champion, 9 wins. And also, like I said, Braga will play Benfica. Porto has to play in Stadium of Light in Lisbon. So it's very difficult for them. And like I said, they will think to maintain the second position and forget from the first position because it's very difficult to gain 14 points to Sporting.
Exactly. E já para não falar dos Guimarães, dos Passos Freiras, etc, that this year they look tough, right?
E atenção, deixa-me dizer aqui uma coisa, que as pessoas têm que olhar para o calendário. O Sporting vai ao Dragão, o Porto a seguir vai a Barcelos, mas tem pelo meio o segundo jogo da taça com o Braga, e depois de Barcelos tem a Juventus e recebe o Passos Ferreira. Atenção ao Passos Ferreira. Portanto, não é só os jogos grandes que vão contar. E o Porto tem mais jogos, como o Braga e como o Benfica, e portanto esses jogos vão ser de dificuldade bastante elevada. Portanto, o jogo do Barcelos, o Sporting viu-se e desejou-se em Barcelos. O Porto também terá um jogo difícil. E depois o jogo contra o Passos Ferreira, porque o Passos Ferreira joga muito bem à bola. A única equipa que ganhou o Passos Ferreira 3 vezes sem sofrer o gol foi o Sporting. O Passos Ferreira na primeira volta deu 4-2 ao Porto, não se esqueçam disso. Portanto, não é só estes jogos grandes.
De sorte.
Exato. E portanto, as pessoas estão a falar muito destes jogos grandes. E eu já disse, o Sporting é como tu estavas a dizer, se o Sporting empatar ou se ganhar no Dragão, que eu espero que ganhe no Dragão, obviamente, fica numa posição muito confortável, ainda falta muito campeonato, porque os outros vão começar a ter que olhar para o lado e para trás, e não para a frente. Vão ter que começar a olhar para trás.
A pressão aumenta.
Claro, é porque, repara, a Liga dos Campeões dá muito dinheiro. Entrar diretamente na Liga dos Campeões dá muito dinheiro. E se tu vis um lugar, isto é a mesma coisa que tu estás, vou fazer aqui uma brincadeira, mas é a mesma coisa que queres ir a um concerto, ok? E só há 2 bilhetes, ok? E tu vais a correr para a bilheteira e vês um gajo que já está lá à frente, 100 metros, a correr, tu dizes, ei, já não apanho o primeiro bilhete. Mas vês outro gajo que está ao teu lado, a correr, tu dizes, eu vou correr com este gajo, porque este gajo é o meu adversário, é o que está ao lado, o que já está a 100 metros à tua frente, já não o apanhas, percebes? E vais ter atenção a este gajo, se calhar até tentas passar uma rasteira ou um encontrão ou qualquer coisa, mas o que já está lá a 100 metros, tu já não podes pensar naquilo, porque se estiveres a pensar naquilo e não olhas para o lado, quando és por ela, o que está ao lado rouba-te o segundo lugar. E depois, em termos, reparem, o investimento que o Benfica fez, né, com contratações, 100 milhões, e se não for à Champions, vocês já pensaram que o Benfica se não for à Champions? É porque o terceiro lugar não te garante a Champions, garante a pré-eliminatória, mas se apanhas uma equipa forte, não é? Se apanhas e és eliminado, não ganhas o dinheiro, e o dinheiro não é tanto se entras diretamente. Portanto, eles vão olhar muito para o segundo lugar. O segundo lugar é aquele lugar que vais à Champions, ganhas dinheiro e não tens que preparar antecipadamente a época. Mas se fores à pré-eliminatória, já tens aí um problema de calendário. Já vais ter mais jogos, tens de contratar jogadores mais cedo para teres a equipa para a pré-eliminatória. Portanto, se tal acontecer, as equipas vão ter que olhar uma para a outra, mas é os que estão em segundo lugar. Tipo, e não é uma equipa que está. Este ano estão lá 3 equipas, já não digo Passos Ferreira, mas estão lá 3 equipas. Portanto, é muito mais difícil.
Tens razão. E o Benfica é uma pressão autêntica. De quarta-feira acho que vão ter como é que se chama lá em Portugal, lá com as buzinas?
Sim, vão ter uma manifestação.
Uma manifestação via carro lá na segunda circular.
They just had elections.
I know, but
You guys missed your chance.
120 milhões, não há nada. A pressão no Benfica está a aumentar e isso não ajuda os jogadores nem aos... Ainda bem.
Ainda bem. Yeah.
Ok, ainda bem, por amor de Deus. Os jogadores continuam há muitos anos.
Exactly.
Aliás, houve quem prevesse que Jorge Jesus no Benfica ia dar no que deu.
Yeah.
Ele sempre prometeu que ia fazer o Sporting campeão. Next question.
I was just about to say that. Sam, your quick prediction on the Dragão, on the game against Porto before we kick it off to Modalidades and wrap up this pod.
I agree with both you and Christian. I think they're definitely going to score. I mean, they're in good form at the moment. No matter how they beat Marítimo, they did, and they also beat Juventus. But I think they're going to score first, probably a bullshit penalty that never was. But I think it's going to go 1-0, and then just before the second half, just before the first half finishes, we'll score. I'm going to go with Pot, and then like the 93rd minute, my boy,
Let's go.
Seba Coates will score 93rd minute to break all their hearts, and I would love every single fucking second.
I love that. I like it. I like it.
And then just like the game against Tondela like 2-3 years ago, he's gonna take off his shirt, throw it around, and not get a yellow card, and Portistas will cry about that for the rest of the year.
You know what we'll say to the Portistas? We'll say, take it easy.
Takitize. Okay, Takitize. Steph, let me kick it off to you. Modalidades. I want to quickly first say I just forgot his name. The handball goalkeeper from Porto.
Quintana.
Yeah.
Yes,
prayers out to him. Of course, suffered a heart attack in practice, I believe it was. Prayers out to him and get well soon. And quick recoveries. But Steph, take it away.
Yeah, I'll second that. It's insane. He's a professional athlete. He's well liked among all the clubs in Portugal. He plays for the national team. Good goalie, good athlete, good human being. So best to him and speedy recovery. He's fighting for his life now. So I'll start with the end ball. We went all the way to Minho, and we beat ABC 27-22. That was a good victory, especially when we lost in the Champions League against the last team in our group. Prestos, the one who has almost the same symbol as we do. Our symbol is just more beautiful, of course. Track and field, we won a bunch of medals. I'm not even going to say all of them, just because it's a long list. But our ladies, they're dominating again, and the men, they did fairly well. But especially to our ladies, congrats to them. Then in soccer, football, we just spoke about Sporting against Portimonense. Of course, we won 2-0. The B team, we won away against GD Fontinhas 3-0. Good game. So we in second place, but behind by 2 games, behind Estrela. So we should, if we win our 2 games, we'll be in first place. Taça Revelação under 23, big disappointment the whole season. But like I've said so many times, it's our youth. We have an average of players of 16 years old, 17, 18. So they learning how to deal with pressure. Most of the players from the under 23 from last year, they transitioned to the B team. So I'm not surprised. So we tied 2-2 against Rio Ave. It really doesn't mean anything because it's not even the champions phase. We are in the second tier, so it doesn't really matter. So it's good playing time for these young players. Futsal, we won 5-1 against FC Sherendam, which at the beginning was a very tough game. They made it very tough, and then towards the second half, we dominated and we basically scored 4 more goals, and we won 5-1.
That's for Champions League, right, Seth?
Yeah, that's for the Champions League, and we qualified for the quarterfinals. So that's a big deal. And then I think we play against we were ranked number 3, so we play against ranked number 6. I'll get the name in a little bit.
We're slated to play Inter Movistar in the Final Four, basically, if we win and they win.
Yes.
If they win as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's going to be a tough quarterfinals. Our ladies in the first league, we won 11-0 against Lourosa FC. So a good game by our ladies. They completely dominated. Okiem Patins Volling Skates. We won against the leader of the Okiem Patins, the Liga Portuguesa, 4-2 at home. Very tough game. Okiem Barcelos, they missed all the PKs and direct kicks they had. And they ranked number 1 on that department, but they pulled a Sporting because we ranked last in PKs. We missed a lot of them and direct kicks. So congrats to our Sporting. We're still 2 games behind. If you guys remember, our team had to be in quarantine because of the COVID-19, and we missed a few games. So we're a few games behind in the standings. It shows we're in 3rd place. But if we do win our 2 games, we should be on top with OK Barcelos and Football Club Porto. And then last but not least, ladies, again, they won 9-2 against C Infant Sagres. So another good game by our ladies. And that's it, guys.
Yeah, so João just had to leave.
My mistake. I have volleyball. Volleyball, we won 3-0 contra Carlos da Rainha. We won 3-1 against Morim. And our ladies won 3-0 against Club de Queiroz. So you guys know the volleyball, we have 1 more game, and it looks like we're going to finish in 3rd place, and then it'll be the 4th place, the 4 best placed in the Portuguese league. So it looks like it's going to be Benfica, Fonte Bastardos, Sporting, and then Sporting Espinho. So the Benfica will play Espinho, and we'll play against Fonte Bastardos. But it looks like it could be Fonte Bastardos first because they beat Benfica a couple of days ago, and then we would play Benfica if they finish 2nd because we're 3rd. So it looks like it's going to be an exciting end of the volleyball league. This is the first time they're doing it this way, this format. I watched volleyball games, especially I was Spartan, of course, and it's exciting actually. So we'll see who's going to be champion of Portugal. But Benfica, they lost twice actually against Fonte Bastardo and another team. I'm forgetting the name a couple of weeks ago. So they're not that strong anymore. So we shall see. That's it.
Facts. João just had to leave. He actually only said a half an hour, so shout out to him for even being with us for like extra hour.
Finesse that.
We did finesse that. Appreciate to that. Guys, I just want to say congratulations to us for 100 podcasts at Sporting160EN. I wasn't there from the very beginning, like Sam and Steph, of course, but came towards like the beginning of the Sporting 160, and it's been a fucking journey. It's been a ride. Like I said on the Bruno Carvalho one, it's been sick just sitting here drinking some beers, talking Sporting with the guys from across the world that have the same sort of passion as I do, if not more. So yeah, shout out to us. I don't know if you guys want to say anything about that. Sam, I'll start with you, dude. Let me have a shot for you guys. I've been drinking some soju this whole time, so I'm starting to finally feel it. Soju. This podcast was brought to you by Soju today. Mu Mashayo. That means, can I have water in Korean? But yeah, Sam, bro. Cheers to you guys.
Yeah, so because I know we do have a lot of new viewers since the Bruno podcast, so I'll just give sort of backstory of what happened. I know we said it quite a few times, but I don't think a lot of people will know. So me and Steph met through a mutual podcast at the time, PT Footy podcast.
Yeah.
I believe, if Steph wants to correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 2017, maybe the end of 2017, 2018.
When we did our first episode was August 31st, 2017.
Yeah. So
It's in my mind. It's like my date of birth.
yeah. So we must have met, I think it must have been like the January or February in 2017 on PT Footy. And then I had this account, not this account, but the account that got suspended. I had it as a backup account for ages. And in 2013, 2012, I used to do my best as like a 13, 14-year-old kid trying to keep up with the news. But then I just gave up on it. And I just said to Steph, I was like, we have it here. We've known each other through the podcast, and we did get a lot of followers from PT Footy come over, which we are very grateful for. But and slowly but surely we managed to get there. And like Steph said, it was you said it was August 2017, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, I remember talking about it because that was the last season of Bruno de Carvalho in Sporting. Well, obviously we didn't know that at the time. But I remember talking about Champions League games with Steph as like a first memory. I believe that was the year when we might have faced, I think it was Barcelona. Then obviously got knocked out to Atletico Madrid, and that's where it all went downhill. But,
Battaglia man marking Messi, the good old days.
Had him in his pocket.
But it's just like from there, good to hear. Like I could never imagine it, and I know you three especially, because I did take that little bit of leave from the podcast when Verandas took over. It had nothing to do with him. It was just like burnout because from that point I was from PT Footy straight from 2016 till I think maybe 2018. So it was a bit of burnout for me. But shout out to all of you three carrying. I know we had Bruno on this pod as well. We obviously got Nando as a part of the team. Bruno.
Who? No, I'm kidding. I love Bruno. I'm just kidding.
So we have Nando right now. We had Bruno. I'm not sure if Steph remembers. We had a guy called the Professor. I've not seen him on Twitter for a long time. But
the Portuguese guy. I even remember that. Right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I don't know what's happened to him. I don't think he has Twitter anymore. But,
we had Patrick.
Yeah,
Patrick for a little. He still comes on every now and again.
Yeah, and we would like. There's going to be people we've missed, but just Bruno de Carvalho and Alexandre Coutinho obviously are the main ones. But we've had Alf, obviously Joao Castro, Mariana, and the whole Sporting160 crew. We've had fans on, and we do have some big. Well, not as I wouldn't say as big as Bruno de Carvalho. No disrespect to the guest, but if we ever top that, I'll be amazed. But we do have some really good ideas lined up, and just keep an eye on the Twitter page and here, because we definitely have a lot more content. If you have any suggestions for content, anyone you'd like to see on, just let us know and we can do that for you. But that's all I've got to say. Thank you, everyone that's watching, that has watched. To you three especially, who's been the sort of the backbone of the podcast. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to say something too. Sam is right on the money. The PT Footy podcast was with Peter and Cynthia and Patrick. And then at one point we had Carrie. Remember Carrie? And his which she passed away, by the way. If you guys look at my profile, you'll see her name, Carrie, with a howl, because she was that's the way she was known by. And then her husband, Portista, I forget his name.
Kevin.
That's it. And he was part of the podcast too. Great guy. He's a Portista, but one of those that very decent, very, very likable guy.
I got onto him because he also ran Santa Clara World too, right? Because he was a Suriano.
Yeah,
it was him
great
and
guy. I
Carrie
love Kevin.
Yeah.
Before she passed, it was them two, I believe.
It was
true.
A sad day. But and because of that, that's how we came up with the podcast, which we named it Sporting Updates UK. But if you go back to our YouTube page and you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you'll see the very first episode. And I think I started mumbling. I kind of like stumbled, and I did go back a few times, and I was laughing about it. Like Joao Castro said, you got to go back and check out your first clip, and it's funny actually. And we have evolved a lot more, but but it's thanks to a lot to do with Danny and Chris and Nando. I remember seeing Danny on Twitter actively involved with our podcast all the time, putting comments. It was like our number one fan. I'm like, we need the support. We need the Sam and I, we talked all the time via DM. Hey, do you think we should invite this guy? He looks like he's an awesome fan. Do you think he'll be interested? And then it was just within a few seconds sending in a DM to Danny, and then he responded, "Fuck yeah, let's do it."
I don't remember where I was, by the way. I was playing soccer at a park, and then I get this DM from you guys, and I'm like, yo, I was dating a girl at the time. I'm like, yo, babe, look, this podcast wants me on to talk about Spartan, all gassed and shit like that. Yeah, it was fun, man. Best DM I've ever received. None of you girls can even compare, bro.
and then Chris was the same thing. I'm like, this guy, Chris Oliveira from Philly, I mean, he's always, very active. And then I sent a DM to Chris again, and Chris was like, yeah, man, let's do it. Just the way Chris says, very simple. And he jumped on it, and he never looked back. And then Nando was the same thing. We lost Bruno in the middle of the mix just because he flipped to Benfica. Then he came back. He rated it. It's still a great guy. I get along with him, and I think he's Sporting.
He came back. He had this comment.
He came back, yeah.
He came back. And he looks like he's fully Portuguese.
Yeah, I also want to say, he was at the stadium where we lost 5-0 against Benfica. I think he's the reason why. Karma fucking had to fuck him up. And in the same time, it bit us in the ass.
But
Jose Pesero could take the blame for that. That's not
true.
That's just him.
But Bruno had a lot of talent.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was a great host. And it's just a shame that he flipped to Benfica, and then we kind of like, what the fuck was that? So how can you trust someone when they flip-flop? I don't know.
Because I remember as well, Steph, I'm not sure if you do, when that happened, the account itself got a few messages like, oh, why are you having a Lampiao on? Like, we got serious shit for that. And
I got DMs for that too. Like, my personal account was like, bro, why'd you guys let this guy? I'm like, bro, I didn't fucking know this guy was going to do that shit. Like,
yeah, same. Because I had the founder in my bio, so people just went straight to that and was like, you have a Benfica fan on. It's like, I didn't know. It's like, come on.
It was so bad.
He's not a Benfica fan.
Even Joao Castro was like, guys, what the fuck is going on here? Like, and not me thinking it's just some little like North American community little thing. Like, whatever, it'll pass. Joao's like, bro, what's going on with it? I'm like, bro, like, we're North American. We flip flop. Like,
when he first did it, because I think we all were. I think it was Steph Steph saw he removed Sporting from his bio, and we were all like, that's a bit strange, but we were shit at the time, so it's like, it's not the worst thing in the world. And then I think he, in the middle of Sporting and Benfica, he went to a second division team. Was it Larea? I think it was. And then from there, he just switched, and he was a Lampiao. It's like, okay.
I know. I was like, my goodness, what happened to this guy? He must be smoking some good weed. And
maybe he does. So maybe.
And then Patrick, let's not forget about Patrick, because Patrick is one of those fans that really, really, really loves to talk about the game, nitty-gritty, every detail aspect of the game, and that's why I love to have him on our podcast. It's a shame he doesn't have the time. I fully understand, because I took a break too, like Sam did. We all take little breaks when we feel that we burned out. We all have busy lives, full-time job, families and stuff. But Patrick, he's very, very into the details. I'm not saying we're not, but you know what I mean. He analyzes the game in depth, and that's what I like about him. But that's it. I mean, look at our podcast. I mean, we invested money to have a great stream. We came from nothing to just a little,
I was just gonna say, Steph, if we started it, would and I said to you, so from episode 1, if I said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have Bruno Tagliafico on this podcast," by the way, you would have not believed me at all. And it's like the growth from just all of us is just fantastic.
Let alone Bruno Carvalho. If I told you that Sporting would call us not to have Travante on, I'd be like, yeah, right, it's Sporting. They would never know about us. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true.
We have 550 followers on YouTube. We have 3,000 something on Twitter, which could have been more if our initial account wasn't canceled because of Sporting.
We're slowly going up.
We're back. We're almost there.
We're gonna be back soon. Yeah.
But all the credit, it's due to you guys and our fans, such as Philippe, Lauren, Jose Costa, Vitor, all their names, Juice Box Leal, Mike, Jordan, Mike again. Yeah.
New York's finest, by the way. Rui Costa, who was on, Joao Leão, who was on, everybody, yeah. Alfred Kensi.
Yeah, and we're very, very thankful to Sporting160 from Portugal to invite us to be the sister, let's say, or brother, because we're all guys.
No, stepsister.
Stepsister.
I love those videos.
Yeah. You're very corrupted mentally. What's wrong with you? Look at those videos. Mentiroso. Anyway.
Just kidding.
Isquelões, culhões. But no, it's Sam is right. It's been exciting. Danny and Chris, amazing job, guys, and thank you for all that. And to Nando and Patrick and all of our fans. Chris, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, you summed it up well. You've maybe revealed some Sporting160 lore that maybe not everyone knew. I didn't even. Who the fuck is the professor, man? I have no idea what the fuck that is, dude.
Literally,
if anyone has seen Money Heist, that that's what I'm thinking of. Some code breaker that is weird or like.
The professor, the one.
He barely spoke to me and Steph in DMs. It was literally he came on a few times and then we didn't really hear from him, and that was it. It was like radio silence.
That's awesome. So yeah,
with Peter, but that's something else.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I learned some new Sporting160 lore tonight. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy that you guys asked me to be. I think honestly what happened was I was a guest first as just a random fill-in.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. You guys just asked me to fill in, and then maybe a week later or something, you asked me to be on it for real. So yeah, I'm glad you guys asked me. I'm glad I came on as a guest. It was a shit season, I think. We were finished 4th, I think, or 3rd, maybe. I don't even remember which season it was. But yeah, it's been great interacting with all you guys online. Honestly, it makes it all worth it. Without you guys, none of this exists at all. So, thanks for giving us the platform to talk about this stuff. And we hope that you see, yourselves reflected in us, honestly. The things that you think, the opinions that you feel. And if they differ, let us know. But our objective is to reflect the sentiment of maybe people that wouldn't normally get their voice heard. So that's all.
What about you, Dan?
Like I said, man, it's been a great ride. I don't remember the date. I remember the first podcast I was on, which was it was Marítimo for the Taça da Liga. It was a boring 1-0 win or something. It was, bro. It's actually come up on my. It came up on my recommended. And I watched it for a few seconds, just like João was actually mentioning. And bro, I was all fucking nervous, sweaty. I was fatter than what I was now. Hallelujah, I lost the weight, some weight at least. I didn't drink as much on camera, at least. but but yeah, man, it was sick, man. Like, and it's been great. It's been something consistent, and it's been a fun hobby for me to have. And like Christian said, it's been a voice for the voiceless, because for many years, us, especially us North American and us UK based, and like José Costa Jorge, I just have to say one thing, José. Today you posted some video of you in the sun and with everything, bro. 15 centimeters of snow just came outside. I wanted to fucking throw my phone across the room today at work, bro. I was fucking
Did you guys hear him singing?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He sounded like haters. It sounded like keep haters. He's got a great voice, though. Yeah.
Leaned, man. And yeah, man, it's been a fun ride. Sam and Steph, thanks for even creating this. Christian, I have to say, I was speaking on the burnt out thing. I was definitely getting burnt out with all the tweeting, and it was definitely towards the end of the Bruno Carvalho reign. It was just like in the middle of that, and I was obviously a little biased on my tweets, and everybody throwing me some, este account, this is supposed to be Sporting, not Bruno, da 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 da. And then you came in and you've absolutely fucking killed it. You took our fucking Twitter to the next level, I think. And so hats off to you again. Hats off to Sam and Steph as well, because you got not only with the tweets, but even with the podcast, you guys have killed it and brought us to where we're at today. Shout out to Nando, who couldn't join us and who's been a lot of compromise because of work. But whenever he's on, he kills it. I love Nando's like perspective of certain things.
100%.
Of course, shout out to Bruno. Sporting breaks the better of men, so I understand it happens.
Yeah, it's all banter at the end of the day, isn't it? We love him. It's just a little bit of
I still talk to him to this day. The guy still owes me a spliff, even though I've quit smoking for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. But the guy still owes me one.
2.5 weeks a week.
2.5 weeks.
That's not an offer that expires, so I think you're good.
Yeah, I'm not quitting smoking. I'm just laying off of it, But yeah, it's been real, guys. It's been like a highlight for these last few years. Has been this podcast, and then where we've taken it, it's been amazing, man. And now that we're even like averaging like 40 views live, and then some 200 plus. Not that I don't give a fuck about the numbers, but just seeing it is like reassuring, and it's nice because I do think that we've had somewhat of an impact on mainly this part of the world. Of course, UK Luso whatever or UK Sportingistas as well, because Lauren, who has nothing to do with Portugal, for example, or even our boy Abdallah from Jordan, who has nothing to do with Portugal, are diehard Sporting fans. It's like João was saying, it's reassuring that we're called Sporting Club Portugal because we're based in Portugal, because this club is the entire world. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's been real. Juice box. I'll hold you to that, bro. A few spliffs, bro. And yeah, guys.
One last thing to close on. One last thing to close on, because I was thinking about it, and honestly, you reminded me of it. Like our main exposure to people is through the internet, but obviously there is a large community of not only Portuguese people in general, but definitely Sportingistas who aren't on Twitter by just nature of their age or their technological capabilities. So like, if you enjoy this podcast, tell your uncle who's not on Twitter about it, who's a Sporting fan. Tell your dad, your grandpa, your brother who's 36 and doesn't go on Twitter and only goes on Facebook or whatever. Just that's honestly, I think that's like the next frontier for us. Yeah. So if you like this, tell someone who's not on Twitter about it.
Facts.
Really fast. I don't know if you guys are in the mood. Good question from one of our fans. Well, José Costa said, one of these days we have to bring Elioa into our podcast. We did, Mariana. But I agree with him. We have to bring more ladies. So maybe, what's her name? Beatriz Colazo.
Open invitation to if any female Sportingista wants to come on, or just has an interest, our DMs are open, I believe, or Danny's is and mine is. I think everyone's is, but
They're open.
yeah. If you're interested,
My
send us
DMs
a
are always.
DM.
Let me just.
We have our one of our best friends, Lauren Jenkins. She
We've been trying to get her on.
She
Been
got
trying to get her on.
for a few minutes last time. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. We have got her on.
That's true.
She got on, but she's always on our on our podcast. But the question from Sporting160EN, he said, haven't heard the stories of how you guys became Portuguese fans and how you guys fell in love with the club. I'll go first, and I'll do it really fast. Me, it was a no-brainer. Since I was born, my father, being Sportingista, he lives in Portugal. Now he's 74. He just turned 74 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So my father was the last one out of 7 brothers and sisters. Okay? So the oldest one, Mutio Alfredo, he already passed away. He was a die-hard Sportingista. A sócio, all the 9 yards. He used to drive from Ilha of Aveiro to Lisbon, Portugal, to José Alvalade. At that time, and Navda Alvalade. And then he convinced my father, being the youngest one and him being the oldest one, converted him to Sporting. In between, all my uncles and aunts were Benfiquistas, all of them. So out of 7, only 2 Sportingistas against 5 Benfiquistas. Okay? So in Portugal, I don't know, you guys weren't raised in Portugal. I was. Summertime, I had to go to work. I didn't have the luxury of going to the beach and all that stuff. I did go to the beach, of course, but most of the time, I worked at my Tio Alfredo Fábrica de Mármore and Granite, 8 to 4. So every single day, my uncle and my father and my cousin João Teixeira, they used to say Sporting número 1, and then toma aí uma nota de 100. E eu pum uma no bolso. Sporting número 1, Sporting número 1. E eu, caralho. And to me, that Sporting became the love of my life. Then, at that time, the big thing was as cadernetas dos cromos.
Que?
As cadernetas dos cromos.
Só de inventar palavras, meu. Não sei o que isso é.
It was a booklet, like the booklet.
I know. The stickers, right?
Yeah, stickers. By the time they weren't stickers, you had to lick them, and then you had to place them inside the square. So that drove me nuts, because then I wanted to buy them, and I was addicted to that. But I only gave a shit about the Sporting pages. I didn't really care about Benfica, Porto, Santa Clara. I just wanted the Sporting players. So every time I got the other players, I threw them away, and only kept the Sporting players. And then the biggest impact, so I can wrap it up, was when I went to watch my first game. And that first game was in Águeda, Taça de Portugal. It was the seats were made out of concrete. We didn't have individual seats. It was just a concrete. That's it. And then in Águeda, if you're from Águeda, if you know that region of Portugal, it's the majority are Sportingistas. So even though the game was in Águeda, it looked like it was in Estádio de Alvalade. It was all green and white. And I'll never forget it, because my father lost me for a few minutes when Sporting scored, but o Jordão marcou um gol. I was on like the upper level. I ended up on the lower level. I don't know how. But then, I was among Sportingistas, and he said, "Oh, o seu filho tá aqui, caralho, tá aqui, Sporting!" They were screaming. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, to tell the truth. I was so little. But it was the best experience of my life, and that's how I became a Sportingista, and I never looked back from an early age. And I'm glad that my Tio Alfredo, already passed away. He convinced me to be one, and my primo João and my father. I even called him the other day, and we talk to each other at least 3 times a week, because he's getting old, and you know, I miss him and always speak about it Sporting. So anyway, and that's how I became a Sportingista. So that was a good question by Sporting Simple.
I'll go next. So my dad and my granddad, and I think for generations have always been Sporting fans. For some reason, my cousins who live in Toronto are Benfica fans. I don't know why.
Yo, send their address, bro. I'll beat them up right now, bro. What do you mean they're?
Brother, they're all women. I don't think you want to do that.
Oh, never mind. My bad. Let me talk to them then.
But no, so from a young kid, I've even got like an image here. I'll try and like get it centered properly. I'll try and put that light down. It's me in like one of the really old Sporting kits. I don't know if you can see it properly.
Oh yeah, Telecel.
Yeah. So when I was like 2 years old, but yeah, this is just something I've always known. Like I've always watched football since I was like 6. But it's weird because the first Sporting memory I have, even though I know I watched them before, was I believe it was the 2008 Taça Portugal final, and I think it was Benfica versus Sporting where we got robbed, and I think Miguel Veloso threw his medal in the crowd. Like I think it was 2008. It could have been earlier or later, but that's literally my first memory. I don't know why, it just is, but you know, I hope to one day have a kid of my own and continue the tradition of making sure they're a Sporting fan. My girlfriend's an Arsenal fan, so I think we'll come to a compromise on it being a Sporting fan 100%. But no, I want to carry on the tradition and like, you know, hopefully one day it is it's like well, I don't want to say as great as me, but as great as following Sporting as I have been, you know, since I'm 21 now, so it's pretty much like 21 years strong. So hopefully carry on the tradition.
Facts. I'll go next. I honestly can't pinpoint a day where I fell in love with the club. I'm gonna be honest. Like I just remember being in love with it. It was something organic. Of course, like my dad is a Sportingista, my older brother's a Sportingista as well. But maybe that had a bit of influence for sure. But to me, I remember being a 3-year-old, not watching a game, not knowing anything, and still talking shit to my dad's family, to family friends, to my dad's friends who, for most of, because you know I grew up obviously in Toronto in Canada. I didn't have any family here. All my family's in Portugal. I have like third cousins in the States that I barely see, that I barely even seen as a kid. So I just remember talking shit to his Benfica buddies, because here in Toronto you're mainly Benfica or Porto. There's very few in between in Sportingistas. I remember being like, they would be like, oh, Benfica ganhou contra o Sporting 3-0. I'd be like, oh, mas Benfica é merda. Even as a 3-year-old, I remember saying these things. And then my few...
Yeah, you were already predicting it.
I was already there, bro. I was like, this was organic. I can't tell, like I said, I can't tell you a moment where I looked and I was like, Sporting's my club. It just always was. And then I remember moments like when I was 5 years old. I remember being at a bar in Toronto, a Portuguese bar. Shout out Bilhares Portugal on College in Ossington. Shout out Little Portugal area for my Torontonians watching this. They already know. I remember being there. I remember my dad, his buddies, Sporting campeão, Sporting campeão. My dad going to the bar, getting a beer, like, oh, filho, queres small laranja? What do you want? I remember these things. And then I grew up watching mainly hockey, but every now and again I'll catch a Spartan game, and then it'll reignite something from me. And then, you know, more and more I start playing the sport. I fall in love with the sport. I fall in love with the teams. I remember being in 2005 watching us losing at home 3-1 to CSK Moscow. I remember us then watching us losing the league later and fully like comprehending it, but still being naive and young enough to not fully like have it register. And it's just, Sporting to me has just been like, it's been a constant in terms of my Luso-Canadianness. It's a part of it is my Sportingismo, you know? And not to be too down or too sad, but it's true. You know, when my mom passed, one of the things that like really helped me get through it was even Sporting losing. It was at least a 2-hour distraction, if not more. That was like, oh, my team's a piece of shit, or my team won. Now I'm happy today. You know what I mean? Like, Sporting to me has been like a constant in that. And yeah, man, that's not to make it too sad because I don't want to do that, but it's true. It's what Sporting means to me. Sporting has just always been there. Win, loss, tie, I don't give a fuck. Like, I bleed Sporting, and even the people that know me, like it's starting to get to a point that's like annoying, where it's like the first thing they'll say to me is like, "Oh, so how's your Sporting, bro?" Or, "Oh, you're the Sporting guy." Da, 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 da. And it's like it's like something I wear with pride, but at the same time, like it could be like, "Oh, fuck, that's all you know me for." But it's sick, and that's what this podcast has brought me. That's what Sporting has brought me, really. And Sporting, above all, has brought me these three here today, but four great friends that if I ever go to New Jersey or Philly or UK or Portugal, like I'm taken care of. You know what I mean? And it's sick, man.
Yeah.
Viva Sporting.
And I can vouch for you because when we watched the Liverpool game at the Yankee Stadium, this guy wouldn't shut up. He knew every song.
Bro, naquele dia apanhei uma puta de bebedeira. And me and Christian were walking around New York that day, so I was dehydrated as fuck. We get to the stadium, I'm like, all right, $10 beers, fuck it. Boom. Another one, fuck it. Boom. Bro, it was sick. It was really great. It was sick.
I remember that. I was being sneaky, and I was telling, let me make sure the door is closed. I was telling my wife, hey, I'm gonna go upstairs and I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I was at fuck too. Oh my god. Hey, you're the last one, bro. Chris.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Chris.
I mean,
I have to listen to you because your father's Benfiquista, so this should be interesting.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit more of an interesting story because I didn't have the classic familiar pulls. In fact, I had the opposite. I'm sure. I'm so certain of this, I would bet my life on it. In my house, if you go through old photo albums and you find anything before like 2003, I am potentially photographed unconsentedly wearing a Benfica jersey.
I'm calling child services right now, bro.
That
Right now.
I don't like have a specific picture that I like. It's like, oh yeah, there's that one picture with like Kevin or whatever. It's like I don't have one in mind. But if you hunted through the thank God it's not virtual archives, right? Like if I was like a kid that was born in Gen Z, the picture would be on Facebook and it'd be permanently there, you know. But this picture exists in like a fucking photo album, so
we would change your name to Bruno.
Yeah.
I was gonna say at least there was a full grown adult that was on this podcast that knew what he was doing when he took those pictures.
Yeah. So my dad and my grandfather. Both Benfiquistas. Those are the main pulls for me, at least on the Portuguese side. My mom is American, and only my dad is Portuguese. So I basically, it's like two worlds, you know, my mom's side and my dad's side. So I mean, I should have been a Benfiquista, you know, probably if like that's what happens to most people, right? But I guess I just never. I guess kind of like what Joao Castro said. You know how he just was like as a youngster he was just a baller, right? And he didn't really care so much about like liking teams. It's just like I just wanted to play soccer. I was playing. I mean, I was good at that age. That was probably when I was the best. So yeah, I just wanted to play. I didn't care so much. Obviously, access to the internet and stuff like that was we had a fucking computer in our house, but it was it's not the internet today. Obviously it's more difficult, streaming games and stuff. None of that shit existed, so obviously it was more difficult. But I do have one specific memory. Well, for sure, Ricardo, the goalie, was one of my favorite players, for sure. And then I think I was starting to flirt with Portimonense the season before we went to the Europa League final, which was Ricardo's first season. Because he had just signed from Boavista, and I think the season before that he was champion at Boavista. But I don't remember Boavista winning the title in real time. I was too young. I was 7 or whatever. I don't have a specific memory of that, but obviously it happened. But yeah, so there's another time I was in Portugal. It was probably 2003. And like we were just like shopping. We were like walking through like a feta, you know, some bullshit. And like there's this like bootleg like sporting jersey there. And I'm like to my parents like, oh, I want this. So my dad's like, well, what do you mean? No, you can't have that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't have that. And I remember it was like a big fight because my mom's like, we're on vacation. Right? My mom's like, not Portuguese. She's like, what do you want this fucking shirt? It's €5. And what do you mean? What do you mean you can't have it? Like, so I remember like my parents like arguing like in this feta whether or not I could buy or whether or not they could buy for me the like not even legit in any way sporting jersey. I was probably crying too. I don't even fucking know. I just have it's like a repressed memory. And I guess my mom ended up winning out in that argument, which is not surprising.
Most women usually do. Especially can tell us.
Yeah, so I got this shirt and I was like, I got this shirt. I love Ricardo. Like, I didn't have a specific thing yet, but I had the underlyings of something, right? That's the next summer, Ricardo does the shit with the gloves off and all that stuff. So I'm fucking in. It's over. By 2004, it is now over. And then the next season, I remember the Europa League run very well. I mean, I remember my grandfather picked me up early from school the day of the final, so that I wouldn't miss any of it. And I just remember like after that, just like being in this like weird like trance where I just like don't want to talk to anyone. Like I guess that was the first feeling. And yeah, I guess I love soccer, football. All these things were happening at the same time. My favorite player was on the team. He was doing crazy shit. And I guess from there, one thing snowballed into another. And here we are today.
I met Chris at the Philadelphia Union game, which actually the game was canceled.
Yeah.
Of the thunderstorms.
They were supposed to play Orlando. Yeah. They're playing Nani. Yeah.
I still got his signature.
Yeah.
My jersey. And his father is cool, man. We spoke for a good like 20 minutes, and amazing gentleman. He just picked the wrong team, I must say. But his Portuguese was impeccable, and we had a great time. Yeah. So he comes from a good family, and Chris is just a lot smarter, I guess.
It's also fitting that one of your first memories from Sporting is the heartbreak.
Yeah,
like you're heartbroken, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm all in."
Also, I might add, like, I was like, "Oh, we get to make a run like this all the time," because Portugal had just gone to the final. The next season, Sporting goes to the final. It's just like we just go to the final every year. Someone goes. No, it don't work.
Little
like
did
that.
you know, bro.
It don't work like that. By the way, both of those teams went on to lose the final at home. Like, back-to-back years. Like, is that something that happens all the time? You just lose the final at home? No, that doesn't happen either.
I grew up in the 80s and the 90s when I was like my early teens, and that's when Porto was dominating. And I clearly remember, like in Portugal, a good portion of my family was Portista, and a good portion Benfiquista, and a few Spartanguistas. And when I was little, I didn't like Porto at all because of the apitorado. Seriously, I remember. Também vocês só ganham a batata, só ganham por comprar os árbitros, só frutas, só putas. Não digas essa palavra que é tão feia. É verdade. So I never. That's why. You know, I was inclined to Sporting because it was, I looked at Sporting as an honest club, a club that we won because we won, not because of favors. And that stuck with me. And
I didn't fully realize the inner workings of Portuguese football and all that until much, much, much later on. But it kind of vindicated my thinking as a kid in that fucking fair. Was a 6 years old wanting the stupid shirt. Like, it's funny. Like 20 years later, you know, all of that is vindicated.
Because if you look at Twitter, Facebook, because we in first place, because we have 10 points ahead of Porto, 15 ahead of Benfica, the only comments they can come up with is Sporting owes everybody, like they don't. That's funny when they say that. And then the other comment is, epa, já vão 19 anos. So when somebody tells me that a Benfiquista or a Portista já vão 19 anos, what do we have to do as Sportingistas? We have to remind them how they won and they conquered their titles. And that's when they don't like it. Because Portistas, it's easy. A Pitorado, 80, 90. How many cups did Pinta Costa win? 20-something? So deduct that from your history, and that's how many titles you really have. They don't like it. Benfiquistas, you talk about Itupeira, Putas e Vinho Verde, Viagens ao Brasil, Juiz Comprados, they don't like it either. But so don't talk about the 19 years that we haven't won the championship, because we will fight back, because there's one thing called the internet. All you have to say to Google is Benfica corrupção. You'll have like 150 pages of it.
Exactly.
I mean, as recent as like articles from like this year,
2 weeks ago.
Rangel.
Yeah.
They just went to dinner or lunch with Luis Filipe.
Yeah.
They have no shame. These, you know, somebody was saying, Filipe Vieira, he gets kicked out of Benfica. What's going to happen? A lot of people's won't have any. Their cars won't have any tires because he's known as o Gaddafi dos pneus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I wear the. It can be 40 years. It can be 50 years. I wear that as a badge of honor. I never turned away from my club. And quickly, in terms of the Benfica thing and this Vitor or Luis Filipe Vieira out, buddy, you guys are only clocking in now that Luis Filipe Vieira out, bro. Like, we've been saying this for years. He's corrupt, but the 1 year he's in fifth, it's no, Vieira. É uma merda. Sai daqui.
Yeah, that's why you realize
the
PK's dried up this year, and now it's Vieira out.
As soon as VAR came in, they've all changed their tune, and it is a fact. You can pinpoint the exact moment where they wanted him out, and it was literally as soon as VAR came in. I know Benfica still won technically that title, but since then it's just.
When Benfica won the title with that VAR, the VAR was not functioning as a VAR. It was just an experiment.
It was still a trial run. Exactly.
Yeah, because the VAR now is for real, because now there's rules in place. There's a protocol in place.
Yeah, it was sus that first year for sure.
They have lines now. They have lines. That's why não há mais espaço para fruta, para putas e corrupção.
Well, there's still some space, but the space has definitely shrunk.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like today's PK for Porto.
Yeah, there's still space. There's still space.
Very soft.
But and it goes back to it, like I said, I wear it like a badge of honor. It can be 40, 50, 60 years. We'll still exist. Sporting fans will still exist. Back to Porto as well, because it's not only a Benfica thing. I know a lot of murmurs between agora, só agora, é que o Pinto Costa tá muito velho. Só agora.
Espera aí.
Quando ganhava, já não tava velho.
If I was
70 anos, não era velho.
If I was the Portista, I'm not. That's a good thing. Thank God. If I was Portista, I would be questioning this administration and asking them, why are we broke? Where's the money? Because they've been constantly going to the Champions League. Where the fuck is the money? Porto should be in trouble financially. They should be in a really good position. So you think about it and you tell yourself, who's been in power at Porto for this long? Pinto Costa. And Pinto Costa and all his friends.
They managed to get themselves in financial fair play somehow.
Chris, they in trouble.
How?
Exactly.
What's the money? Real Madrid, like.
the money.
I think it was the sale of the kid to Wolves. What's his name? Fabio Silva really helped them out because it was what 40
Well,
million.
they just literally
how much
spent
of
all
that-
that money on the fucking guy they just bought from Gremio, right?
True.
Yeah.
And
true.
how much
But
of that went to agents too? I think like I saw it was like 20% of that.
That was the transfer that had the most agent fee. It was like 40% of the transfer was like fees.
Exactly.
Hilarious. It was
Exactly.
like 40 mil. Porto got like 22.
in terms of like overall, I wouldn't say like the only sort of jealousy, and I wouldn't even call it jealousy, but when I look at when I was first started watching Portuguese football, when I see Porto with like Falcao, Jackson Martinez, like so many great players, and even Benfica a few years ago when they had like Raul Jimenez and had Jonas and like all these good teams, and even as far back as like Rui Costa. For me, there was always that I couldn't really go to school and be like, oh yeah, this kid Ricky van Wolfswinkel, yeah, he's all right. But like these like I didn't really know many Portuguese people, but it was just like they had. So in 2010, it was like Jackson, Falcao, James, Hulk when he was still at his prime. Even though he's a rat, but he's a very good player, John Martino. And it's like we really haven't had that major squad. I guess you could really count like 2016 because obviously the Euros with like William and those people, but like
Silva. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that, and I think it's this year that team that is remembered in like. So like when Nuno Mendes, unfortunately, it's going to happen when he goes to a big team, and like Bragança and all these players who will move up, and it's just like they all came. It's going to be one of them. It's like it came from us, and that was a team. You know, like I know Steph and Christian, you've had the teams that have been in sporting history, but really I've not had that chance yet. But like when I look at this season, this is the season I imagine like going. So I've got the jersey of Coates because he's the captain, and if we win, obviously he'll be lifting it. I bought it for a reason in mind. That one, I love the player, and two is just like when like hopefully I have a kid in the future, that is going to be the shirt I say, oh, this is the shirt I bought because we won the league, and then I could tell him about Coates and Fadal and Nuno Mendes and all of these players. Like my dad told me about.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sam. Coates is really the one player who has bridged that gap between the pre not only the pre the height of the BDC era, the fallout and the shit fuckery for 2 years. Now being rewarded, he's the captain on this great team of young players. You know, it's like it's almost perfect. You know,
and in the mix of all this, he's not even Portuguese.
Yeah.
He respects the club more than os ratos do William Carvalho, o Portimonense que vale uma merda.
Rui Patrício, que é enorme.
Vale uma merda. You know, os ratos todos que foram embora. He's from Uruguay, and he showed more of a backbone than all these players that came from our academy. So how can we not love this guy? Of course.
But it's like one of those players that like my dad talks about. Like I'm not comparing the two players, but obviously when my dad grew up, it was like Figo and all these players that were like went on to be world class, and like even like the early 2000s when you got to see the rise of Ronaldo and players like that. It's like for me especially, because I know you guys are a bit older, you have your sort of childhood like heroes, but for me it's like this team is one of the best we ever had. And so like I said, like I say to my kid, oh, this Coates guy, he might not be in like football history, but for us, like the captain and the potentially league winning captain, it's like, you know, I think we're finally gonna have that moment. For me, 21 years of just constant losing, because technically I wasn't really there for that. Was it 01, 02? Because my brain wasn't developed, but this will be like the first taste of big success we've ever had, and I couldn't wait.
And to be fair, I while being alive don't really remember it either, because like I'm saying my memory started like 2003, 2004. So like that is always honestly been special to me. I'm glad I don't remember the title, so because it's been like that wouldn't have been my title, you know, like like, oh, I have this faint memory. It's like, no, this is a drought, and this like the first one is gonna be, you know, it's gonna be the one. And I remember, man, I remember like the doldrums of like the 2012, 2013. And it's funny because I didn't live sporting the way I live it now, because obviously number one, it was more difficult, but number two, it's like I had like, oh, I play 3 soccer games a weekend. I have the fucking band. I'm in high school. I have like all these extracurricular things. It's like I didn't always have time to watch the game, but I'd always follow. And now it's like 7th, 6th, 4th, 3rd. Like knowing one day, like this is gonna pay off, and like it's tough to fully appreciate it in the moment. And I try to do it, but it's like it feels surreal that it's like this thing that I've like built up in my head all this time. It's like literally unfolding in real time, you know?
It's gonna be crazy. And it is because like
Listen,
as much as I don't want to be jinx it, but like it's still an if at this point. Like Amarin says, one game at a time, one game at a time.
Yeah, but
we're nearly there.
all I have to say is if we can make it to Portugal because of the COVID-19, and Portugal is not really in a good spot at the moment. I mean, the US is getting a little bit better. The numbers are declining now. There's less cases of coronavirus. So that's a good sign. I mean, like I've been vaccinated. I've gotten the 2 shots. So it's going to the public in my state, I think mid-March, because it goes by state in the US. Let's not forget it's 50 states. So if we're not able to go to Portugal in May, we got to do something in our North America side. It's going to be difficult for Sam, but I think it's feasible. Book a fucking restaurant and celebrate, and then
I mean, Newark, New Jersey is like Portuguese capital, I think.
Yeah.
North America, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Listen, if borders,
you guys want to come to Newark? I got a small apartment, but
listen,
bring the sleeping bag.
If borders are open for my Canadian ass, I'm fucking there at least. At least. I need to be around Sportingistas. I need to kiss around them fucking person, bro.
It's called o Lar dos Leões. I think it's filial 22 or 23. So I'll check it out if they throw in a party, and then if we can basically go with them. But they have so many restaurants, and I know so many of them. We can easily book one and celebrate it together.
Mm-hmm.
So
we gotta get there first. We gotta get there first.
So you have time to become a pilot.
You just need to have me on like the FaceTime just at the end of the table.
4 months, bro, I would not get on that.
At the end of the table.
I'll just be there on like FaceTime, just pretending to like hear everything you say, but just like celebrating in the corner.
And listen, I'm going to the restaurant and celebrate, even if it's just me and my son. I'll make him go.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I know a few people. Paul Costa is from Newark.
Yeah, he was just saying.
Is from Newark. So if I talk to them, Vitor Pinho is also from New Jersey. So there's quite a few Sportingistas that I know. Luis. Yeah. So it should be a good time. Oh, Bruno Ferreira, my friend Portista, that we don't talk that much. It's father Sportingista. I'll invite him.
O pai, yeah, exatamente. O pai pode vir. E a mulher do Richard Teixeira também, já agora. Também Sportingista, não é?
I'm really good friends with his family. And she's an amazing Sportingista. She became Sportingista because of her aunt that already passed away.
R.I.P. to her.
Yeah. So she's Portuguese. She's not, like die hard and crazy, but she is. She says all the time, "Eu sou Sportingista." And Bishop Teixeira, I don't know why he's Portista with the last name Teixeira, kind of insulting. He's a good guy. I like Fitch. He's a good guy.
I do too. He banters us too much, bro.
I know, but I'm always busting his balls because from the other side of the family, was Joao and Nina, they Benfiquistas, but good ones. And every time they babysit the kids, they put Benfica jerseys on them and they take pictures of Facebook. And I'm always busting his balls. What's going on, buddy?
Oh man.
Oh, we're still live. Oh my god.
We're still live. I know. We've been shooting the shit. In the
Yeah.
summer, we need to just do a podcast where we just shoot the shit.
Yeah.
This has been great. This has been great. It's like 2 parts to this podcast.
Yeah, it's
Joao
like the
Castro part
serious
and then the
part
us
and
part.
then the other part.
Yeah, you know what we should do? Exactly what you just said, and then we just
Yeah.
let fans jump in too. You know, jump in for 5 minutes, and then
Not have a dedicated topic.
course,
Just
yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
just talk
yeah,
sporting, anything. If you want to talk about, I don't know, the 1980s, yeah, fuck it, go ahead. If you want to talk about now, if you want to talk about, I don't know, the academy, volleyball, whatever. Like, I think it's a good idea. We just go on for 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it takes us. Like, no set time limit. Let's go for
I mean, we bought SteamYard. This thing goes for however long. I just might need to take a pee break every now and again, like I just did. But I mean, if you know how small my bladder is, and David, by the way, if you want to join us, it might be the only time you ever see a Sporting win the league. So I mean, I know you're Sporting Club Braga, but hey, man,
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll finish second. You know, that's worthy
That's
of a
true.
celebration too. Auto
I just take the little shot because Braga pisses me off sometimes.
Sporting Braga was the filial of Sporting a long time ago, and they had a green flag actually.
I want them to finish second.
If you go
Me
back,
too. I'll say that now too. Me
if you
too.
go back to their history, you'll see Sporting Braga filial Sporting with a green flag. I don't know why they had the bad taste of switching to red. I don't know.
Every now and again, they'll throw in an alternate jersey that's like green. So you know, it's all right.
David's one of the guys, and Braga's been doing
Facts.
their own thing. They're not Benfica bitches anymore. And that's the way to go. If Braga wants to be respected and potentially win a league one day, I don't think this year will be the one. They have to, focus on themselves. But Salvador has been doing some amazing deals for them.
Facts. That's facts.
Money. I mean, I don't
And
know
if they,
money because we don't pay them, but they will have a lot of money. So they sold Trincão por how much to Barcelona?
25, acho eu.
25, something like that.
I think.
Yeah. And they just sold somebody else for a bunch of money as well. So
And this Abel Ruiz kid from Barcelona's academy that they got from Trincão looks like a baller, bro. I don't think he scored that many goals this year, but next year I think he's gonna cause the Portuguese league some problems. I mean, if they keep on to Ricardo Horta, I mean, Fran Sergio, say what you want about the guy. He's a solid addition in midfield. It's funny. Me and Dave actually talk a lot, even on the DMs on Twitter, because, like you said, Steph, he's a great guy. He's a Braga fan, but he's a great neutral as well. He loves the Portuguese. This guy will randomly tweet about the fucking Tondela against not even Passo Ferreira, against like a Boa Vista, a random fucking game, which is amazing, man. It's good for the league. It's good for us,
I like him because he's a Braga fan. He's not a Braga.
Me too.
Benfica. He's a Braga fan. That's it.
That's a fact.
That's what I like. Someone that sticks to his guns. So that's it.
All right, boys.
Good
That's
pod.
podcast 100. I thoroughly enjoyed this from the beginning to the very end. Thank you everybody for joining us, not only for this podcast, but for the last 100 podcasts of Sporting160EN. And I think it's been like 120, I want to say, in total in terms of like Sporting updates. I think. I don't know the exact number, but I think it hit like 20, 22.
Like 23.
Something around that.
Yeah, you're right.
23, we stopped.
Yeah.
Facts. Next week, I won't announce. We might have a good guest. It depends on scheduling, but I haven't went through it. I haven't asked him yet, so I'm gonna ask him today or tomorrow. But I think we'll have a good guest for the Porto highlights match next week. Hopefully, it means we're 13 points clear of Porto.
Oh, still 10.
We're still 10, but hopefully by next week we'll be 13.
Of course.
E já agora, hopefully we're 18 of Benfica. Hopefully they lose. I believe they play Guimarães. Am I wrong there?
I'm not sure.
Is it
I can't remember. I think they have a tough game. It may be Braga. I know they have a tough game at least.
I think it's Braga. One of our fans will let us know.
It's Rio Ave.
Rio Ave.
Rio Ave.
Pronto. A tough game nonetheless. And the front line is all Sporting. So hopefully they fucking win us the fucking 18-point advantage right there. But until then, guys, thank you everybody for joining us. I won't even go through the chat because there's so many of you guys. Forte abraço, grande beijinho para todos. Viva Sporting. We'll see you for episode 101. And hopefully we're sorry, my dad was actually just celebrating right now as I said Viva Sporting. And hopefully we're title contenders at the end of this. Yeah, nothing more, guys. Viva Sporting, another great podcast. And shout out to everybody. Shout out to us 4 and us 5, Nando, watching for another 100 with Sporting160EN. Let's go. Rep that shit. Let's go.